Chapter 638. The cultivator's expression changed drastically, and his eyes showed a look of horror. This was the laws of time, definitely the laws of time. At this moment, he could no longer care about anything else. Crazily burning his lifespan, he desperately expanded his sea of consciousness. Even if his sea of consciousness burst and his lifespan exhausted, he had to break through this momentary pause in time. He knew that this was not the laws of time. If it were the real laws of time, even his thoughts would stop, and he would not be able to do anything. However, even if it was just a superficial understanding of the laws of time, he could not resist it. Catcha. He finally broke free from Ning Cheng's sunset's twilight. His celestial essence finally recovered, and his world began to come alive. He no longer remained still. However, a long spear pierced through his glabella in an instant, and his time froze once again. Ning Cheng weakly held onto the long spear, and barely managed to keep standing. If the other party had ignored the array formation's explosion and continued to attack him, he would not have stood a chance. If his array formation was not a grade 5 celestial river array formation, but a grade 4 celestial river array formation, he would not have stood a chance. Sunset's twilight would at most allow him to escape, but it would never be able to kill this powerful fellow. There were no ifs in this world. Laws of time, you are Jiangzhou's wanderer from the 9x9 celestial scryer tower. The cultivator pointed to Ning Cheng, but his voice grew weaker. Although Ning Cheng had disguised himself as an old man, after the two of them stimulated their celestial essence and spiritual consciousness, he already knew that Ning Cheng was not that old. A young cultivator with such cultivation had already touched the surface of the laws of time. If it was not the Jiangzhou's wanderer who had climbed to the top of the 9x9 celestial scryer tower and shocked the entire grand culmination starry skies, then who else could it be? I won't let you go. The cultivator uttered a final hoarse cry as an injured life essence leaked out. Ning Cheng knew what the other party was thinking and sneered. So what if you are in the heaven-seated realm? Do you think that I can't deal with the life essence of someone in the heaven-seated realm? As he spoke, several spiritual consciousness attacks locked onto the injured life essence. You. The cultivator's life essence immediately fell into despair as Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness attacks wrapped around it. Let me go. I am Shangmao Celestial River's Celestial River King Shangmao Liang. If you kill me, Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart will not let you go. The life spirit desperately made a last effort. Ning Cheng stopped his spiritual consciousness attack in surprise and asked, Are you really Shangmo Liang? Seeing that Ning Cheng seemed to recognize him, Shangmo Liang felt a glimmer of hope in his heart and spoke up eagerly. Yes, I'm Shangmo Liang, the Celestial River King of Shangmao Celestial River. Ning Cheng truly did not expect that he would inadvertently avenge Shi Yulan. Immediately he became excited. Shangmo Liang had a true spirit world. He had snatched this true spirit world from Shi Yulan's hands, and since he inadvertently killed Shangmo Liang, wouldn't this true spirit world be his? Regardless of whether he could return this true spirit world to Shi Yulan in the future or not, he really lacks such a thing right now. Letting the exploding golden wasps and chasing bulls stay in the minor 5-element array formation in the mysterious yellow bead was not a solution. Did you deliberately give away this metal origin crystal? What the hell do you want? Ning Cheng snorted and took out a crystal wrapped in a layer of exotic desolate extreme essence. Shang Moyang's heart sank once again. It seemed that Ning Cheng did not intend to let him go just because he knew that he was Shang Moyang. At the same time, he also realized that he had picked up a stone and smashed it on his own feet. If you are willing to let my life essence go, I will definitely tell you everything. Shang Moyang still hoped that Ning Cheng would spare his life. Ning Cheng spoke up with disdain. If you don't want to talk, then die. While speaking, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness attack swept out even tighter. Shang Moyang's life essence turned cold, and he no longer dared to beg for mercy. He quickly spoke up. I'll talk, I have a true spirit world. Less verbose and nonsense. I'm asking you, did you take out this crystal? After Ning Cheng cast Sunset's twilight, his celestial essence had already started to recover. As such, he did not rush to destroy Shang Moyang's life essence. Yes, Shang Moyang replied. The reason I took out some metal origin crystals was to see if anyone wanted to search for origins. Because I obtained a metal origin bead, if I could obtain the 5 elemental origins, then my true spirit world would evolve into a quasi-primal chaos world, which would be countless times more powerful than a true spirit world. Shang Moyang obtained the metal origin bead, and was eager to obtain the rest of the origin beads. He thought that the cultivators who obtained the rest of the origin beads would also want the metal origin bead. In fact, Shang Moyang's thoughts were not wrong. Almost all the cultivators who were eager to obtain the origin beads had their own secrets. He believed that even if a cultivator coveted his metal origin bead, he would still have the upper hand. The main reason was that he had too many metal origin crystals. Therefore, he wanted to try this method. As for whether it would work or not, he did not care about it. Over the years, there had indeed been a few cultivators looking for his whereabouts through the metal origin crystals. However, these cultivators only came for the metal origin bead. Most of them came for the origin crystals, and none of them possessed the rest of the origin beads. These cultivators who were searching for his whereabouts were naturally killed by him without exception. What, did you say you have the metal origin bead? Ningqing interrupted Shang Moyang in surprise. Originally, he just wanted to ask Shang Moyang where he obtained the metal origin crystals. Unexpectedly, the harvest was so big that Shang Moyang actually had the metal origin bead. Shang Moyang's life essence felt like it had turned into an ice cave. This cultivator really came for the metal origin bead. He wanted to find the other origin beads. And just as he thought, there were also people looking for the metal origin bead. I have the metal origin bead. As long as you let me go, my true spirit world and the metal origin bead are all yours. I also have a lot of treasures in my Shangmao celestial river. I can give them all to you. Shang Moyang only had one request at this time, that is Ningqing leave his life essence behind and not kill him. Ningqing sneered. Is the true spirit world yours? Don't you have any shame? You robbed my friend Shi Yulan's true spirit world. Today, I came to avenge my friend. Are you Shi Yulan's friend? Celestial River King Shangmao's life essence completely lost all hope. If this person in front of him was Shi Yulan's friend, then maybe this person came here specifically for revenge. That's right, extinguish it for me. Ningqing understood the whole story. Under the sweep of his spiritual consciousness, the celestial river flame directly turned Shang Moyang's life essence into nothingness. As for Celestial River King Shangmao saying that there were many good things in the Shangmao Celestial River, Ningqing did not believe it. Since Celestial River King Shangmao had a true spirit world, he definitely would have brought many good things with him. After destroying Celestial River King Shangmao, Ningqing raised his hand and grabbed his storage ring. At the same time, his spiritual consciousness swept inside. Sure enough, his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it at all. This storage ring truly was a true spirit world. With Celestial River King Shangmao's cultivation, he had already refined this true spirit world for many years. Therefore, if he wanted to fully use this true spirit world, it would not be a short time. When Shi Yulan's ancestors obtained this true spirit world, even if they refined it for several generations, they could only use it as an ordinary miniature world. Unless the true spirit world took the initiative to recognize a master, a cultivator without a celestial scryer realm would find it difficult to refine the true spirit world. Ningqing did not immediately start refining this true spirit world. Instead, he killed Celestial River King Shangmao. This place should be safe. Before going to search for the Purple Een Spirit Spring, he should stay here and cultivate for a while. At the very least, he should consume all the cultivation resources around him. Ningqing had already given some perpetual moon pills to Qianghua and Luofei, but he still had 1 or 2 million perpetual moon pills on him. With so many perpetual moon pills, coupled with the rich starry sky essence qi in this place, he could definitely advance further. What made Ningqing look forward to the most was that no one from the outside could detect the aura in this place. Maybe he could enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate from here. Another 2 months passed by, and Ningqing finally finished reading the basics of artifact crafting given to him by Zhongli Baiqi. At this time, he finally realized how heaven-defying this book was. To be precise, it was not appropriate to call this book Basics of Artifact Crafting. Even if it was the basics of artifact crafting, one could only read it for the first time. Every time he read it, the content inside would deepen by a level and cover a wider range of topics. After reading the book, Ningqing finally understood what Shang Moyang meant by a quasi-primal chaos world. A true spirit world could become a quasi-primal chaos world if it gathered 5 kinds of origins, or the 5 elements. However, it would be extremely difficult to gather 5 kinds of origins and elements. Despite knowing that it would be difficult, Ningqing understood Shang Moyang's approach. Ningqing, like Shang Moyang, wanted to gather 5 kinds of origins. Compared to a miniature world, a true spirit world was countless times more advanced. However, even a true spirit world could not prevent the spiritual consciousness of a true powerhouse from peeping into it. A true spirit world, at best, was equivalent to a planet with relatively higher laws. However, a primal chaos world was completely different. It was an existence that transcended ordinary worlds. Once a primal chaos world formed, even if it was a quasi-primal chaos world, even an expert surpassing the eternal realm would not be able to peep into it with their spiritual consciousness. Moreover, his mysterious yellow bead itself was a good fortune treasure. Once he gathered all 5 kinds of origins, it would form his own good fortune world. This was an existence that transcended the primal chaos world. Thinking of obtaining the metal origin bead, and having 4 kinds of origins, Ningqing felt even more expectant in his heart. Gathering all 5 kinds of origins for him was only a step away. Ningqing benefited a lot from this knowledge. But what made Ningqing even more excited was that he also learned about the method to upgrade the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. At the end of the book, he also saw the refining methods and materials needed for several top-grade weapons. Among them was the refining method for the Good Fortune Spirit Spear, which required Twilight Sand, Opening Heaven Iron Essence, and 5 elements Spirit Water. Ningqing was happy that he already had the Twilight Sand, but after seeing the Opening Heaven Iron Essence, his excitement completely disappeared. According to the book, the Opening Heaven Iron Essence was the first piece of fine iron condensed from primal chaos aura at the beginning of heaven and earth. It sounded like a treasure no worse than the 5 elements of origins. Where could he find it? If the Opening Heaven Iron Essence made Ningqing feel lost, then the 5 elements Spirit Water made Ningqing completely dispel the idea of refining this spear. Chapter 639. The 5 elements Spirit Water was the water that condensed within the Good Fortune world the moment it formed. According to reason, Ningqing possessed the Good Fortune mysterious yellow bead, which meant that it was possible for him to form a Good Fortune world. As long as it could form a Good Fortune world, it would be possible to obtain the 5 elements Spirit Water. To Ningqing's disappointment, if his Good Fortune world did not have the breath soil when it formed, the mysterious yellow bead would not produce the 5 elements Spirit Water when it gathered the 5 elements origin to form the Good Fortune world. This meant that if he wanted the 5 elements Spirit Water, he would need to find the breath soil in addition to the 5 elements origin. Ningqing already knew about the preciousness of the breath soil, but he had never thought about it. However, these were not all. The most important thing was that his flame had to give birth to a fire spirit, and it had to be a top-grade flame. Otherwise, even if he gathered all these things, he would not be able to refine the Good Fortune Spirit Spear. After knowing how abnormal the Good Fortune Spirit Spear was, Ningqing decided to wait for his flame to evolve in the future. He would melt the Nirvana Spear without a spearhead, add some Twilight Sand, and refine it into a long spear weapon. As for the 5 elements Spirit Water and the breath soil, he decided to forget about them. In the following days, Ningqing did not leave this place. He stayed in this cave filled with rich spiritual qi, took out the praying mat where Chasing Bull used to reside, and began to cultivate while refining the true spirit world. This praying mat was a very good weapon that could actively absorb the surrounding starry sky essence qi, purify it, and store it. After another 3 months, Ningqing finally took control of the true spirit world ring. Although he had not yet fully refined the true spirit world, he could now store things inside and take out the items inside. When Ningqing saw the things inside the true spirit world, he could not help but sigh at the wealth of Celestial River King Shang Mao. A variety of high-grade artifact crafting materials and high-grade starry sky spiritual grasses were piled up like mountains. Even grade 4 and grade 5 celestial river medicinal pills, which others found difficult to obtain, he had hundreds of bottles here. However, there were not many celestial pills above grade 5, just a few bottles. What attracted Ningqing the most was not these materials, nor the spiritual grasses and medicinal pills, or the starry sky grade battleship, but a jade box that exuded a metal-attributed origin aura. Ningqing raised his hand and took the jade box in his hand. Opening the jade box, he saw a golden bead lying inside the jade box. The aura of the metal origin was clearly visible to him. Sure enough, it was the metal origin bead. Ningqing was pleasantly surprised as he grabbed the metal origin bead, and immediately threw the metal origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead. After the metal origin bead entered the mysterious yellow bead, the mysterious yellow bead once again changed. Ningqing vaguely felt that his mysterious yellow bead had gained many more laws out of thin air, and the mysterious yellow bead's world had also turned more vivid. At the same time, it also had a hint of metal-cutting aura. To Ningqing's regret, his mysterious yellow bead still lacked a kind of life-wood aura. If he had the wood origin bead, maybe his mysterious yellow bead would undergo earth-shaking changes. Ningqing was very much looking forward to it. When he obtained the wood origin bead in the future, what kind of form would the mysterious yellow bead appear in front of him? In addition to the metal origin bead, what made Ningqing the happiest was that he once again harvested 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills. For a celestial river king in the heaven-seated realm, to have 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills, it was a rare thing. One had to know that perpetual moon pills had a great effect on the cultivation of heaven-seated powerhouses. Most of the perpetual moon pills obtained by starry sky cultivators would be used for cultivation. As such, only a few people could save up so many perpetual moon pills. Since he obtained so many perpetual moon pills, Ningqing decided to go into secluded cultivation. Since this place isolated the aura, Ningqing felt that he should be able to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate. He had never entered the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate before, yet his cultivation speed far exceeded that of ordinary cultivators. If he could enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate, he could not help but wonder what kind of speed he could achieve. 3 months later, Ningqing finally opened his eyes. The celestial essence in his meridians gave off a sizzling sound, just like a rushing river. It was not only clear and powerful, but also without any noise. Surprise could not describe Ningqing's mood at this moment. It was not until today that he fully realized the heaven-defying nature of the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead was several times more powerful than cultivating with the mysterious yellow origin. Not to mention these things, cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead could also cleanse his life essence and corporeal body. Even if his cultivation did not improve at all, his potential would become even more powerful because of cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivation potential was closely related to one's spiritual root and comprehension ability. Ningqing already knew that the mysterious yellow bead could gradually purify one's spiritual root. He not only knew that the mysterious yellow bead could purify one's spiritual root, but it could also give birth to other spiritual roots. What he did not know was that cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead could also enhance his comprehension ability. Ningqing's comprehension ability was already stronger than ordinary cultivators, and now that he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead, it had gone even further. From this, it could be seen that the longer he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead, the stronger his comprehension ability would become. In just 3 months of cultivation, he was already close to the peak of early-stage undead realm. Moreover, he still had more than 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills left. As a starry sky cultivator, Ningqing naturally knew that the higher a cultivator's cultivation, the more difficult it would be to advance. From just entering the undead realm to approaching the peak of early-stage undead realm in just 3 months, it was definitely a rare occurrence. Without enough cultivation resources, many cultivators would need thousands or even tens of thousands of years to complete this process. Even with a large number of perpetual moon pills, it would still take dozens to hundreds of years. What's more, even with a large number of perpetual moon pills, one could not absorb them without limit. One's body had to be able to support it, and one's cultivation method had to be able to absorb it all. Ning Cheng had a large number of perpetual moon pills, as well as a large number of breakthrough medicinal pills. However, unlike others, his mysterious yellow formless could absorb even more Starry Sky's essence chi. Moreover, he was also a body-forging cultivator. All of these might be the reason why Ning Cheng could advance from early stage to peak early stage undead realm so quickly. However, Ning Cheng felt sure that the main reason was because he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead. With the mysterious yellow bead's heaven-defying strength, Ning Cheng immediately decided to rush to the middle stage undead realm. With his current speed, he could advance to the middle stage undead realm in a month at most. Just when Ning Cheng was about to continue his secluded cultivation, he suddenly felt a slight twitch in his life essence. Since obtaining the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng had been very cautious. Now that his life essence had twitched slightly, it felt a little uneasy. Therefore, he immediately came out of the mysterious yellow bead. Just as he walked out of the immortal cave, Ning Cheng's eyes saw some slight ripples on the void array entrance through which he came in. Someone's coming in. Ning Cheng had just thought of these words when a faintly discernible figure seemed to have entered this place. In just a flash, Ning Cheng crazily rushed towards another void array entrance, and stepped inside without even thinking about it. At the same time as he rushed in, his spiritual consciousness saw a pale-faced man enter this place. This pale-faced man did not go anywhere else, and his reaction was not any slower than Ning Cheng's. Almost as soon as he came in, he rushed towards Ning Cheng while simultaneously sending out a big hand to grab him. A terrifying deathly suppression surged up, causing Ning Cheng to purse his lips and speed up. It wasn't until the dizziness hit him that Ning Cheng realized that he had started to teleport away. The moment the dizziness disappeared, Ning Cheng immediately brought out the Starry Sky Wheel. Although the twin wings of the heavenly clouds could allow him to leave in the shortest time, Ning Cheng knew that the speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was no different from a child's play in front of the pale-faced cultivator chasing after him. Ning Cheng would rather waste a breath of time to bring out the Starry Sky Wheel. After bringing out the Starry Sky Wheel, it only took a breath of time before it tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. This speed definitely surpassed the instantaneous movement speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Even so, Ning Cheng's Starry Sky Wheel had just rushed out when it started to shake. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew that the cultivator chasing after him had used his Celestial Essence giant hand to grab him. The other party's Celestial Essence giant hand had not caught his Starry Sky Wheel, but just the Celestial Essence fluctuations caused his Starry Sky Wheel to lose its stability. This cultivation was simply too terrifying. Ning Cheng did not know the cultivation of the cultivator chasing after him, but he felt sure that the other party's cultivation was not any lower than Chuan Xinluo's. Moreover, he did not have an intuitive impression of Chuan Xinluo's strength. The pale-faced man chasing after him gave Ning Cheng an intuitive impression that he did not even have the right to resist in front of this person. Maybe as long as he was a breath slower, the other party would have been able to catch him. With the Starry Sky Wheel almost caught by the other party, how could Ning Cheng dare to stay for even half a moment? He had not fully refined the Starry Sky Wheel, so wouldn't it be equivalent to courting death if he stayed any longer? What's more, he could feel that the cultivator behind him was still relentlessly chasing after him. Ning Cheng crazily controlled the Starry Sky Wheel to escape, but at the same time, he also realized why the pale-faced cultivator had found him. Although the mysterious yellow bead was a good treasure, the mysterious yellow origin aura could only be concealed deep within his sea of consciousness. Once exposed, even in a secluded minor heaven domain, one would not be able to hide their aura completely. Although he could not feel the spiritual consciousness mark of the minor heaven domain from the outside, it did not mean that others could not feel it. The pale-faced cultivator chasing him most likely had found him because of the mysterious yellow origin aura. The first time he took out the mysterious yellow bead for cultivation, he ended up being targeted. At this moment, how could Ning Cheng care about the direction? He simply did not have the time to go in that direction. Ning Cheng pushed the Starry Sky Wheel to its limits. Not only did he burn a bunch of perpetual moon pills to power the Starry Sky Wheel, but he also crazily poured his celestial essence into the Starry Sky Wheel. Chapter 640. With the speed of the starry sky wheel, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could only find a relatively safe starry sky route. Even so, meteorites still hit the starry sky wheel from time to time. Fortunately, the starry sky wheel was extremely powerful, and when it collided with the meteorites, they all shattered. As for the starry sky demonic beasts, Ning Cheng wasn't too worried about them. No matter how many starry sky demonic beasts there were, they couldn't keep up with the speed of the starry sky wheel. From time to time, the starry sky wheel would hit some meteorites, which, although had no effect on the starry sky wheel, affected its speed. The powerhouses chasing after him would also need to avoid these meteorites. With this offset, Ning Cheng could barely maintain a slight lead. Even if it was just a small lead, over time, the gap between them would widen. As the feeling of being caught grew weaker and weaker, Ning Cheng finally relaxed a little. This was the fastest speed he had been flying for 6 months. Instead of using more than 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills for cultivation, he had used them to increase the speed of the starry sky wheel. Even so, Ning Cheng didn't dare to stop. Although the feeling was weak, it was still there. Once he stopped, maybe that fellow would appear in front of him in just a few breaths. Ning Cheng's starry sky sea of consciousness was powerful, driving the starry sky wheel at full speed for half a year without even a moment of relaxation made him feel exhausted. He couldn't even figure out how far he had run. Just when Ning Cheng calculated how long he could fly, the 50th layer of restrictions of the starry sky wheel suddenly cracked. Ning Cheng automatically refined this layer of restrictions after controlling the starry sky wheel for half a year. With the 50th layer of restrictions broken, the speed of the starry sky will instantly increase by a notch. Ning Cheng felt ecstatic. He had been worrying about what to do once he exhausted all his perpetual moon pills, and exhausted his sea of consciousness, and that fellow still chasing after him. However, he didn't expect that his cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds. Even his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence had improved a lot. At this time, even if he didn't deliberately refine the starry sky wheel, driving the starry sky wheel for half a year finally opened the 50th layer of restrictions. With the starry sky wheel's speed increasing, Ning Cheng finally felt relieved. It wasn't just a matter of the starry sky wheel's speed increasing, but he also forgot to refine the starry sky wheel. Although Ning Cheng controlled the starry sky wheel, it didn't affect him from refining it. As another month passed by, Ning Cheng finally managed to refine the starry sky wheel to the 54th layer of restrictions. At this moment, Ning Cheng no longer felt anxious. The starry sky wheel's speed had almost doubled compared to before. If that fellow could still catch up to it, then that fellow was simply too much of a freak. In the starry sky countless miles behind Ning Cheng, a pale-faced cultivator stopped and silently looked in the direction where Ning Cheng disappeared, his eyes filled with unwillingness. If his speed was similar to his cultivation, he would have already caught up with the ant in front of him. My luck is still a little lacking. What a pity. The pale-faced man muttered to himself with a pained expression. He knew very well why the flying car in front of him had suddenly sped up. This was definitely the starry sky wheel. If it were any other starry sky weapon, even if it were a top-grade starry sky battleship, he would have already caught up to it. The immortal Jade Star had given birth to the starry sky wheel not too long ago. Ning Cheng did not expect to encounter it. Since the starry sky wheel had been driven continuously for more than half a year, it must have refined more and more restrictions. With more and more restrictions being refined, it was only natural for the starry sky wheel to increase its speed. With the speed of the starry sky wheel, he could forget about catching up. Feeling that the person behind him had stopped chasing, Ning Cheng drove the starry sky wheel for another month before stopping. By this time, he had refined the 57th layer of restrictions of the starry sky wheel. The starry sky wheel's starry sky coordinate map no longer had any place markings, only a small bright spot in the corner. Ning Cheng stood on the deck of the starry sky wheel, and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. It was a void filled with raging meteorite flows, with no direction and no traces of people. Ning Cheng understood that he had most likely lost his way. The only place he could go now was that small bright spot. Maybe after reaching that small bright spot, he would be able to find his way again. However, Ning Cheng also understood that although the bright spot looked close to him based on the starry sky coordinates, it wouldn't take a while to reach it. He simply called Chasing Bull out to help him control the starry sky while he continued to cultivate. With more than 100,000 perpetual moon pills, advancing to the middle stage of the undead realm shouldn't be a problem. 2 months later, Ningcheng successfully advanced to the middle stage of the undead realm. Although the bright spot had grown a bit brighter, he still hadn't reached it. Ningcheng continued to let Chasing Bull control the starry sky, while he started to study artifact crafting and alchemy. He had obtained a lot of starry sky materials and starry sky spiritual grasses from Shang Moliang, which were suitable for him to try out. As another half a year passed by, Ningcheng gave out a sigh and stopped refining artifact crafting and alchemy. In half a year, he could barely refine grade 6 Celestial River medicinal pills and high-grade Dao artifacts. However, this speed wasn't fast for Ningcheng. Rather, it was ridiculously slow. Ningcheng could barely refine high-grade Dao artifacts, but he had become more familiar with it. Ningcheng knew the reason for his slow progress. It was because the grade of his flame was too low. Celestial River flame wasn't bad, but his flame hadn't undergone nirvana, and couldn't even compare to the most ordinary nirvana flames. Ningcheng could refine high-grade Dao artifacts and grade 6 Celestial River medicinal pills with flames that hadn't undergone nirvana. Ignoring Chasing Bull, Ningcheng continued to study array formations. Array formations had very low requirements for flames. The only reason he could kill Shang Moliang was that his attainments in array formations had improved. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been Shang Moliang's opponent. Just then Chasing Bull's voice arrived. "Master, we're almost there." Hearing Chasing Bull say that they were almost there, Ningcheng quickly rushed to the deck. Sure enough, a large blurry shadow appeared within his spiritual consciousness. Not only that, but his spiritual consciousness also detected some sporadic flight-type weapons passing by. Chasing Bull, enter the true spirit world. I'll go take a look. After greeting Chasing Bull and sending it into the true spirit world, Ningcheng put away the starry sky wheel and took out a middle-grade Dao artifact flight-type weapon. The flight-type weapon flew for an hour before Ningcheng could finally see it clearly. What appeared in front of him was a boundless cluster of broken stars. Broken stars were either broken planets or starlands with incomplete laws. The cluster of broken stars here stretched on endlessly, and Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness couldn't reach its depths. He could only see meteorites flashing through the boundless cluster of broken stars, while the starry sky and void intermingled together. Within the limited range of his vision, he could see countless void collapses and void blade lights crisscrossing through the void. Some of the broken stars that made up the vast cluster of broken stars were connected to each other, while some even had a void in the middle. As he got closer, Ningcheng found that not only did he see all kinds of void blade lights, void collapses, and vortexes crisscrossing through the void. Some of the broken stars still had flames rising to the sky, while the surrounding areas were covered in icebergs and seas of snow. The entire cluster of broken stars exuded a dilapidated, vicissitudes, and desolate scene. These dilapidated and sad scenes seemed to tell every cultivator who came here that all the broken stars here used to be glorious, but now they no longer had that glory, only desolation. On the periphery of this cluster of broken stars, there were some starry sky battleships and airships. Some of these airships even had the names of merchant houses marked on them, while some even had signboards indicating that they were heading to the planet. With many starry sky cultivators coming and going, Ningcheng's flight-type weapon blended into the crowd, but no one cared about it. Ningcheng put away the flight-type weapon and stopped a male cultivator with a celestial bridge cultivation. He cupped his fists and asked, "Friend, I've just arrived here and don't know much about this place. I would like to ask you something." The male cultivator, on seeing that Ningcheng's cultivation did not seem to be any lower than him, quickly spoke up. "There is an ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce in front of you. You can go there and buy some jade strips about the ancient Desolace abandoned land." Ningcheng had already seen the name of the ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce, a starry sky battleship. At this moment, he realized that the Chamber of Commerce was named after this place, the ancient Desolace abandoned land. After thanking the cultivator, Ningcheng quickly arrived at the ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce. At a glance, one could tell that this battleship belonged to a large starry sky merchant house. Not only did it have an ancient Desolace merchant house, but it also had a variety of rest stops, weapon pavilions, pill shops and so on. Ningcheng walked into the ancient Desolace merchant house and found many people choosing various things inside. Do you have a detailed introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land? Ningcheng walked up to a shop assistant and asked. The shop assistant immediately replied, of course. Our ancient Desolace merchant house's introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land is by far the most extensive of all the merchant houses. In addition, we also sell jade strips with maps of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. What is the price for the most detailed introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land and the map jade strip? Ningcheng nodded and asked. The shop assistant apparently had heard Ningcheng ask such questions many times and immediately replied. The most detailed introduction jade strip is priced at 1 million purple coins, while the map jade strip is priced at 3 million purple coins. Ningcheng did not immediately ask for it. 4 million purple coins was not a high price for him. However, these two things were definitely very common in this place. He did not expect that someone would quote such a high price. As if knowing that Ningcheng would hesitate, the shop assistant immediately explained, Friend, our ancient Desolace abandoned lands introduction jade strip and map jade strip are definitely worth the money. Only our merchant house's map jade strip introduces some vague interface exits. Ningcheng felt surprised in his heart. He did not care about anything else and directly interrupted the shop assistant's words. Did you say that there are interface exits in the ancient Desolace abandoned land? Naturally. The shop assistant looked at Ningcheng with a puzzled expression. Many of the cultivators who come here know that the ancient Desolace abandoned lands interface intersects with each other. As long as you find the right place, you can directly pass through the interface from this place to the other side. Not only that, but I also heard that there are some places where the interface intersects. However, these places are too far away, and no one has yet to find the place where the interface intersects. Ningcheng took in a deep breath and directly took out 4 million purple coins and said, I want to buy one of these jade strips. Chapter 641. The exposure of the mysterious yellow bead was not a trivial matter. Since he could see the pale-faced cultivator, how could that pale-faced cultivator not see him? Since the pale-faced cultivator was looking for him, Chuan Xinluo might suspect him sooner or later. Zhongli Baiqi had also returned and should be looking for him. There was also the everlasting Holy Shrine's sacred master. Everyone thought that he had died in the changing Earth Mountain. But now that he reappeared, whether it was because of the talisman or something else, that sacred master would definitely look for him. With so many powerhouses looking for him, even 100 Ningcheng wouldn't be enough to kill him. No one knew about the relationship between him and Rulin, so there shouldn't be any danger. Luofei and Qianghua staying in the everlasting sacred shrine might seem dangerous, but it should be safer than following him. The ancient Desolace abandoned land actually had a place where interfaces intersected. If he wanted to grow stronger, he would have to leave this world. Song Wei had left this positional plane, but Ningcheng knew that he had the heaven-opening talisman. Although he could use the starry sky will to travel between the major starry skies, it was still impossible to break through the interface. Even if he could return to the graceful star mainland, he couldn't do it. Ningcheng made up his mind at this moment, just like how he could quickly return to the rootless Black City and take away Qianghua. If he wanted to return to the everlasting sacred shrine, he would have to go further. When the shop assistant heard Ningcheng say that he wanted 2 jade strips, he felt overjoyed and quickly went to fetch the jade strips. At this time, 2 cultivators walked past Ningcheng, and one of them spoke up. Brother Wei, a few days ago, someone found a half-spirit artifact in the ancient Desolace abandoned land along with a broken immortal cave. Was it near the reverse mud maelstrom? I remember that you were also in the vicinity at that time. Yes, it was there, but I was a bit far away. When that broken immortal cave came out, more than a dozen people tried to snatch it, but the reverse mud maelstrom swept away 7 people. My strength was too low, so I didn't go up. The other cultivator replied. As the 2 spoke, they walked past Ningcheng. The shop assistant brought over 2 jade strips, and after Ningcheng paid the purple coins, he immediately left the ancient Desolace merchant house. He didn't know where the reverse mud maelstrom was, but he was sure that it was a corner of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Unexpectedly obtaining a semi-divine artifact in this place, Ningqing finally understood why so many cultivators came to the ancient Desolace abandoned land. There must surely be a high number of primordial grotto mansions and primordial magic treasures here. These cultivators had come here in search of opportunities. Half an hour later, Ningqing arrived at the edge of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Ningqing had just looked at the introduction jade strip of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, which gave him some understanding of it. Not only was this a place for cultivators to temper their bodies, but it was also a place for cultivators to search for treasures. A top-notch Hotian spiritual treasure had appeared in the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As for the various spirit artifacts, immortal caves, ancient cultivation methods, heavenly materials and earthly treasures, there were simply too many to count in the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Over the years, countless powerhouses had obtained fortuitous encounters here. Similarly, countless cultivators had fallen here over the years. The periphery of the ancient Desolace abandoned land was a bit better. Although there were void collapses, spatial blade lights, and void cracks, as long as one was careful, one could still survive. Once they entered the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, their lives would no longer be in their control. In the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, spatial dislocations were commonplace, and one could encounter them all the time. As for spatial collapses and spatial reversals, as well as violent snowstorms, they were just the most common dangers. What was even more terrifying was that one did not know when the broken star they were on would suddenly explode. Once a broken star exploded, even a heaven-seated powerhouse would find it difficult to escape. After all, this place was not like other places, where dangers lurked everywhere. Perhaps one could escape from the epicenter of such an explosion, only to step into a spatial dislocation the next moment. As for the reverse mud maelstrom, according to the introduction on the Jade Strip, it only belonged to the same level of danger as the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Just hearing about the dangers of the ancient Desolace abandoned land made one feel terrified. However, thinking about the powerful opponents he had to face, Ningqing did not hesitate to step into the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As soon as he stepped into the ancient Desolace abandoned land, the desolate feeling of vicissitudes became even more clear. There was even a vague sense of panic in his heart. It seemed that in the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, there were some ancient remnant souls calling out to every cultivator here. However, once he stopped and carefully explored, the call of these remnant souls seemed to disappear. Ningqing felt sure that it was not an illusion. After obtaining the mysterious yellow bead, his intuition had become much stronger than before. Perhaps other cultivators would think that this was the ancient Desolace abandoned land, which led to this illusion. However, Ningqing did not think so, which made him even more careful as he walked. However, he did not stop because of this worry. Even if it was a terrifying soul essence, he did not fear it. Before his sea of consciousness had undergone nirvana, he did not fear possession. But now that his sea of consciousness had undergone nirvana, it had transformed into a starry sky's sea of consciousness. Even if an ancient remnant soul tried to possess him, why would he fear it? The place Ningqing chose to go to was called the Moon Spirit Marsh. There were two reasons why he chose this place. Firstly, the Moon Spirit Marsh was located at the edge of a planar interface. Secondly, the ancient Desolace abandoned land's Jade Strip had a vague description of the Moon Spirit Marsh. If he could buy this Jade Strip, then others could also buy it. If someone really chased after him, then when guessing his destination, they would not have guessed that he would choose the vague description on the Jade Strip. After experiencing these things, Ningqing's approach was not to be afraid of 10,000, just in case. It was always better to be safe than sorry. Ningqing did not go far, at most a few dozen miles into the ancient Desolace abandoned land, when a few people called out to him. The ones who called out to him were 4 people, 2 men and 2 women. The one with the highest cultivation was a tall male cultivator with a bronze complexion and a hint of brilliance in his eyes. He turned out to be a person with double pupils. In Ningqing's view, this cultivator was already at the full circle of heaven's mandate realm, a half-step into the heaven-seated realm. Next to him was a female cultivator with a medium build. This female cultivator had big eyes and fair skin. She was also a pretty woman. Although her clothes looked a little loose, it could not hide her charm. This female cultivator also had Heaven's Mandate cultivation, and should have just entered the late-stage Heaven's Mandate realm. The other male cultivator was a head shorter than Ningcheng. He looked very handsome with a starry sky cultivator's bun on his head, which made him look very elegant. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the undead realm, which was similar to Ningcheng's current cultivation. The last female cultivator had a relatively petite figure and an average appearance. She had sparse yellow hair and also had the lowest cultivation at the early stage of the undead realm. This friend, my name is Warren, and these are my companions Yuyuan Xue, Ohongshin Do Di. The one who spoke was the tallest cultivator with the highest cultivation. Ningcheng noticed that when he introduced his friends, he also introduced them from the highest cultivation to the lowest. Rogue cultivator Cheng Yanqiong. Ningcheng saw that these people did not seem to have any malicious intent, and also cupped his fists. Warren spoke up with a warm smile. Friend, it's like this. We are planning to go to Crow's Nest. Originally, it was a 5-person team, but one of my friends withdrew because of a temporary matter. I see that this friend is alone. If you don't mind, the 5 of us can form a team and go together. Ningcheng knew about Crow's Nest. According to the introduction on the Jade Strip, one could find top-grade materials for crafting flight-type weapons in this place. According to the Jade Strip, in ancient times, a Taoist crow had reached Tao confirming in this place. Later, he renamed the place where he reached Tao confirming as Crow's Nest. After Taoist crow broke through the positional plane and went far away, he left his Tao confirming ground behind. As for what Tao confirming was, Ningcheng did not think much about it. In his opinion, Tao confirming was the same as Tsang Wei, cultivating beyond the eternal realm, and then rushing out of this positional plane. Because Taoist crow was a demonic cultivator, he raised countless top-grade fiery winged crows as demonic pets. Except for a few who left with Taoist crow, most of these demonic pets stayed in Crow's Nest. How could demonic pets left behind by a Tao-confirming powerhouse be simple? The tail feathers left behind by these fiery winged crows, each of which was priceless. What made them even more precious was that these fiery winged crows were windfire attributed demonic beasts. Some of the fiery winged crows had accumulated over countless years, and some had even cultivated to a certain level. Even after they fell, they left behind their own life flames. This flame was known as the Scarlet Crow Fire, and many cultivators had obtained the Scarlet Crow Fire from this place. Whether it was alchemy or artifact crafting, the Scarlet Crow Fire was a remarkable flame. However, Ningcheng did not want to go there. He already had the starry sky wheel and the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. As for the flame, he already had the celestial river flame. The only thing he lacked was not the flame or the materials for crafting flight-type weapons, but how to evolve the celestial river flame. Ningcheng hesitated for a moment before speaking up apologetically. Sorry, I don't want to go to Crow's Nest. My cultivation is still too low, and I don't want to go to such a deep place. In fact, it was not that Ningcheng did not want to go to such a deep place, but he wanted to go even deeper. Seeing Ningcheng refuse, Yuyuan Xue, who had a pair of big eyes, suddenly spoke up. Brother Cheng, if we were alone we would not dare to go. But now that the 5 of us have teamed up, even if there is some danger, we would still be able to help each other. Moreover, I have already been to Crow's Nest once. This time, in addition to finding the Scarlet Crow Fire or the materials for crafting flight-type weapons, we also have something that no one can refuse. Ningcheng showed a faint smile and did not ask about it. He was not interested in it. Yuyuan Xue also did not expect that even after she spoke to this point, this cultivator would not even ask about it. She judged from Ningcheng's celestial wheel that Ningcheng should also have a cultivation in the undead realm. It stood to reason that since she offered something that no one could refuse, the other party would at least ask about it. Since Ningcheng did not ask, she continued. According to legend, after Taoist Crow reached Tao confirming, he left behind his Tao confirming insights in Crow's Nest. This time, we are going to look for Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights because I have some clues. If we find it, everyone can carve a copy of it. Friend, many starry sky cultivators think that the eternal realm is the peak. In fact, there are many powerhouses above the eternal realm. It's just that many people do not know about it. Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights is a very precious treasure for each of us. Warren explained from the side. Ningqing once again cupped his fists and spoke up in a deep voice. I don't know the few of you. There are so many cultivators here, so why do you want to cooperate with me? Why would you give me such benefits? Chapter 642. Warren showed a bitter smile and spoke. No wonder this friend was puzzled. Most of the cultivators who came to the ancient Desolace abandoned land have already formed teams. For those who didn't form a team, their cultivation was either too high or too low. The few of us are all above the undead realm. Cultivators with low cultivation would definitely not be willing to come with us. We don't dare to team up with Empyrean Realm seniors. To be honest, we have looked for some friends before, but none of them were willing to go with us. If my friend really doesn't agree, then the four of us can only go together. In fact, it wasn't just our group that went to the crow's nest to look for Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights. But we believe that our clues are definitely not inferior to others. Ningqing felt that these people truly wanted to find a partner. Therefore, he also felt that it would be a good idea to see Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights. Furthermore, the direction to the crow's nest and the moon god's swamp were about the same. There wasn't much of a difference. Thinking of this, Ningqing nodded and spoke. Since several friends have invited me with such hospitality, then I will also go and see if I can find a glimmer of opportunity. Hearing Ningqing agree, Warren and Yu and Shua felt very happy. Not only did they take the initiative to introduce the other two, but they also explained the situation of the crow's nest in detail. Oh Hongxin and Do Di, perhaps because of their low cultivation, only greeted Ningqing when Warren introduced them. However, they remained silent. The weapon that Ningqing brought out was a middle-grade flight-type Tao artifact, while the others brought out their Celestial River-class battleships. A middle-grade flight-type Tao artifact definitely had a higher value compared to a beginner-level Celestial River-class battleship. However, among the few people here, even Do Di, the worst one among them, used a middle-grade Celestial River-class battleship. From this, it could be seen that these cultivators had been roaming around the ancient Desolace abandoned land for many years. Tao Friend's weapon. Warren looked at Ningqing's airship-type weapon and praised it. Warren was not trying to flatter him. Although an airship-type artifact was the easiest to refine out of all the flight-type artifacts, Warren knew that Warren was not trying to flatter him. But even so, the price of a middle-grade Tao artifact was still higher than a middle-grade Celestial River-class battleship. Celestial River-class battleships could be mass-produced, while middle-grade Tao artifacts could only be crafted by top-grade artifact crafting masters. The advantage of a warship over a flight-type magical treasure was that its attack power was stronger, and it had all kinds of technological attack weapons. And a good flying magical treasure was more agile than a warship. Yuan Shua did not lie when she said it once. She walked in front of them at an incomparably fast speed. She avoided some of the spatial storms and void vortexes. Occasionally, there would be some simple meteor showers, which did not cause much damage to them. Ningqing secretly nodded. Forming a team with these people was quite good. If he had to go through this part of the road himself, even with the introduction and map, it would take him a long time. There were too many dangers here. If one was not careful, they would be swallowed by the space. Along the way, the few of them rarely spoke, each controlling their own magic treasures to hurry on with their journey. Along the way, Ningqing also met many cultivators who were in a hurry. However, in this place fights rarely broke out. Ningqing could also understand this. In this place, even if they were in a hurry, it would still be dangerous. If they did not have a deep hatred towards each other, who would want to fight in this place? The crow's nest was very close to where Ningqing wanted to go, but it was very far away from the periphery of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As Ningqing followed the few of them deeper in, the desolation he felt in the ancient Desolace abandoned land became even more intense. He stretched out his divine sense. Sometimes, what he saw was clearly a broken piece of land or a withered old tree, but there was an indescribable sadness in it. Ningqing knew that it must be because the grass and trees here had borne too much of the owner's emotions when they were on the verge of collapse. Although the owners of these things had already fallen and turned into flying ashes, the residual emotions still affected the withered grass and gravel in this place. Only after his cultivation reached a certain level would he not be affected by these things. From this, one could see how high the cultivation of the cultivators who fell in this place was. At this moment, the everlasting blue thunder city in Ningcheng's sea of consciousness suddenly pulsed. Ningcheng felt startled and subconsciously stopped. The everlasting blue thunder city was something he obtained from the law's way. As his cultivation grew higher and higher, the refining of the everlasting blue thunder city also grew deeper and deeper. At this moment, the unranked blue thunder city that he brought out no longer looked like a shadow of nothingness. It even had a substantial body of a city wall. Because he had refined the everlasting blue thunder city more and more deeply, without his spiritual consciousness to drive it, it would not show any signs of movement. However, he did not even need to drive the everlasting blue thunder city. Yet the everlasting blue thunder city still pulsed within his sea of consciousness. This definitely was not a normal situation. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness immediately swept out. For ordinary cultivators, their spiritual consciousness would not be able to sweep out too far in this place. Ningcheng had a starry sky sea of consciousness. As such, his spiritual consciousness was far more powerful compared to ordinary cultivators. A moment later, Ningcheng found a broken starry field 10,000 miles away with a huge black arrow stuck in it. Ningcheng had never seen such a huge arrow before. Not only was this arrow huge, but when Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with it, he immediately felt a deathly pressure. An indescribable uncomfortable feeling emerged in his heart, causing his sea of consciousness to tremble as if he wanted to vomit. Without waiting for Ningcheng to recover, he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Ningcheng's sea of consciousness finally calmed down. It no longer trembled or felt like it was about to collapse. When his spiritual consciousness came into contact with this black arrow, not only did his sea of consciousness tremble, but the everlasting blue thunder city in his sea of consciousness also pulsed even more violently. Ningcheng took in a deep breath and forcibly calmed down the everlasting blue thunder city. This black arrow gave him a very familiar impression. The pulsation of the everlasting blue thunder city, coupled with the sweep of his spiritual consciousness. At this time he realized why he was so familiar with this black arrow. When he entered the thunder domain in the law's way and refined the everlasting blue thunder city, he had seen a powerhouse shattering a planet with a single punch from the everlasting blue thunder city's memory. Then he saw a purple spear, which killed that powerhouse with a single strike. At this time, the powerful thunder from the everlasting blue thunder city blasted away all the powerhouses in the surroundings, showing off its powerful imposing manner. But even so, a black arrow suddenly shot into the everlasting blue thunder city. It directly tore open the surrounding void, and shot the everlasting blue thunder fort into the void. At the same time, it also blasted the everlasting blue thunder fort's artifact spirit into another space-time. It was clear how powerful this black arrow was. At this time, Ningcheng was sure that the black arrow was the one that he had seen with his spiritual consciousness a moment ago. Moreover, the jade slip he bought also had an introduction to this black arrow, which was called the Arrow of Outer Heaven. The foreign heaven's arrow could not be used to scan with one's spiritual sense. Once it was scanned, it would directly destroy one's sea of consciousness and they would be finished. He had just arrived here, so he didn't notice. Because of the throbbing of the everlasting blue thunder fort, Ningcheng immediately swept away the black arrow. Fortunately, his starry sky sea of consciousness had not reached the point where his sea of consciousness had collapsed. "Brother Cheng, why did you stop?" As Warren spoke, he saw Ningcheng spitting out a mouthful of blood. His expression immediately changed as he asked, "Brother Cheng, this place is not far from the foreign heaven's arrow. You must not sweep out with your spiritual consciousness. You wouldn't have swept out with your spiritual consciousness, right?" However, he immediately thought that this was impossible. Even if he spread out his divine sense, he would not be able to detect the foreign heaven's arrow. Ningcheng's cultivation should not be as high as his, so how could he detect the foreign heaven's arrow? If he had managed to detect the foreign heaven's arrow, it would not have been as simple as spitting out a mouthful of blood. Ningcheng quickly waved his hand. No, because my internal injuries have not healed, I just spat out a mouthful of blood. But I feel much better now. Brother Warren, you don't have to worry about me. Just keep going. He would never admit that his spiritual consciousness had detected the foreign heaven's arrow. That would be equivalent to exposing the strength of his sea of consciousness. Although he spoke those words, Ningcheng made up his mind. In the future, once his cultivation grew stronger, he would come here again and take away the foreign heaven's arrow. Even a weapon as powerful as the everlasting blue thunderfort could not escape from this black arrow. Just how powerful was this black arrow? It was not that no one wanted to take away the foreign heaven's arrow, but that no one had the ability to do so. Although he had the starry sky sea of consciousness, he could not take it away. His cultivation was still too low. After flying for another half a month, Yuanxue, who was leading the way, finally stopped. Warren and the others also stopped. Ningcheng also put away his flight-type weapon. He knew that they had arrived at the crow's nest. There was a dark shadow in the distance. It was the Crow Star, the place where Taoist Crow had secluded himself to comprehend the Tao. However, at this moment, the Crow Star was already extremely dilapidated, and there was no longer any signs of life. Standing on the outskirts, one could feel the vicissitudes of time and desolation, as well as a rich fire-attributed aura. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness could also sense some cultivators rushing into the Crow Star from time to time. From the looks of it, they most likely came here for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights, materials for flight-type weapons, or the Scarlet Crow Flame. The Crow Star is right in front of us. In the Crow Star, we can't use our spiritual consciousness to probe beyond a radius of 10 miles. Although the Crow Star was damaged, Taoist Crow had arranged countless unbreakable restrictive arrays in the past. If we want to go to the Crow Star to look for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights, we can only rely on the few of us to find it together. However, Brother Cheng, you don't have to worry. We are different from others. In order to keep in touch with each other, we will leave each other's communication beads, Warren said and took out his communication bead first. Ningcheng also took out his communication pearl and left a spiritual consciousness tag with Warren's group of 4. Then let's go in. As long as it's not Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights or the Crow's Nest, the rest of the Crow's Nests or treasures will belong to whoever obtains them. Only Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights. We need to share it with each other. Moreover, Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights cannot be opened by a single person. No matter who it is, after finding this place, we must inform the others to gather together. Yuanxue also stood up and spoke. Ningcheng nodded to show that he understood. The Crow's Nest was actually the Crow Star. However, within the Crow Star, there were countless crow's nests. Some of them were built by the fiery wind crows left behind after Taoist Crow left. These crow's nests either contain the tail feathers of the fiery wind crows, or the Scarlet Crow Flame. Chapter 643. As soon as Ningcheng followed the few people into the Crow Star, he realized that his spiritual consciousness was different from others. Warren said that one's spiritual consciousness could only reach out to a radius of 10 miles. However, Ningcheng did not even use his spiritual consciousness thorns to sweep out to a radius of 100 miles. Some of the broken restrictions couldn't block his divine sense at all. If he wanted to forcibly extend his divine sense, it was estimated that he would be able to reach further places. His sea of consciousness was indeed far stronger than ordinary cultivators, Ningcheng thought in his heart. Ningcheng didn't know how big the Crow Star was. He only knew that after coming in, it was filled with potholes, ravines, and collapsed mountains. One could guess that many cultivators were fighting here. Not only that, when the Crow planet's life was extinguished, it had also experienced a tragic collision. Sure enough, Yuanxue was very familiar with the route. Although she could not use a flight-type magical weapon in this place, she turned left and right without stopping for even a moment. Moreover, her speed was also very fast. Initially, Ning Cheng thought that Warren had initiated the search for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights. But now, it seems that it was Yuanxue who initiated it. After the five of them walked for nearly 2 days, Yuanxue suddenly stopped with an ugly expression on her face. What? Junior sister Wanxue? Warren quickly asked. Yuanxue spoke with some unwillingness towards Ning Cheng and the others. The place that I came to know is this canyon. Now that so many people have come here, it shows that I'm not the only one who got the news. Hearing Yuanxue's words, Warren and the others felt somewhat disappointed. Even if they hadn't found it yet, their chances were slim to none. Ning Cheng showed a smile. I thought we didn't have to worry about it. Although there are a lot of cultivators here, I don't think it has been long since the others arrived. The chances are about the same for all of us. Things like fortuitous encounters are not necessarily first come, first served. Since we're already here, we might as well go in and take a look. Brother Ching is right. There are many forks in this canyon. Let's enter the canyon to search for it. This kind of treasure can only be obtained with the help of opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity, then even if the treasure appeared in front of you, you wouldn't necessarily know about it. Warren immediately echoed Ning Cheng's words. Okay, that's it. Yuanxue was the first to rush in. Apparently, Ning Cheng and Warren's words had worked. Treasures could only be obtained with luck. Without luck, even if you were in front of a treasure, what could you do? Ning Cheng also followed into the canyon. This canyon was a little special. The deeper one went, the wider it became. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the more forks in the canyon there were. After entering the depths of the canyon, Hongshin was the first to choose a fork to enter, followed by Warren. After half an hour, Yuanxue also chose a fork to enter. In the end, only Dodi was left in Ning City. Among the five, Dodi's cultivation was the lowest, at the early stage of the undead realm. Even Ning Cheng's true cultivation was much higher than hers. After the two of them ventured deeper for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng could feel a trace of water aura coming from one of the forks. Since his mysterious yellow bead fused with the water origin bead, he had become more sensitive to water auras compared to ordinary cultivators. Since entering the Crow Star for so long, Ning Cheng had never seen a drop of water in the Crow Star. He had never felt any water aura before. Now that he felt a trace of water aura, he immediately wanted to go in and have a look. Just when Ning Cheng wanted to say hello to Dodi, Dodi suddenly stopped and spoke. Brother Cheng, please stop. Ning Cheng had already planned to stop, but now that Dodi called out to him, he immediately stopped and asked in doubt, Junior apprentice Sister Do, what's the matter? Dodi hesitated a little before speaking. Brother Cheng, although you joined our team later, I feel that you are more trustworthy than Hongshin. I originally planned to cooperate with Hongshin, but if Brother Cheng is willing, I have decided to cooperate with you. Cooperate with what? Besides, aren't we already cooperating? Ning Cheng asked in confusion. Dodi simply spoke up. Brother Cheng, I know some of Taoist Crow's secrets. Originally, I planned to come back after a few days, but now that this place has been leaked out, many people have come here, so I have to act in advance. If Brother Cheng swears that you will not have any disloyalty, I will be willing to come up with these secrets and cooperate with Brother Cheng. Dodi had a relatively petite figure and an average appearance. Her hair was sparse and yellow, making her look very unremarkable. However, Ning Cheng did not pay any special attention to her. It was not until this moment that Ning Cheng finally noticed Dodi, and even used his spiritual consciousness to probe her. What surprised Ning Cheng was that Dodi had a faint monstrous essence aura, which was different from that of ordinary cultivators. However, this aura was extremely weak, and if Ning Cheng had not taken the initiative to probe her with his spiritual consciousness, he would not have been able to see it. Ning Cheng calmly spoke up. I will cooperate with anyone, as long as the other party does not have any bad intentions. I will not do anything that goes against my word. However, I never swear on such things. It is not a matter of daring or not, but rather, I am not willing to swear on such things. If you believe me, then we can cooperate. If you do not believe me, then we will part ways here. I am going to enter this fork. Hearing Ning Cheng say that he wanted to enter this fork, Dodi's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise, but this surprise quickly disappeared. Then she took the initiative to speak to Ning Cheng. Brother Cheng, if I did not believe in Brother Cheng, I would not have said those words. Does Brother Cheng know what Taoist Crow's most powerful spirit technique is? It should be flames. Ning Cheng spoke with uncertainty. In his mind, Taoist Crow was a fire-attributed demonic cultivator, and could even breed top-grade flames. Therefore, it was quite normal for him to have a powerful flame spirit technique. Dodi nodded. That's right, Taoist Crow's most powerful spirit technique is indeed a flame spirit technique, but no one knows what kind of flame Taoist Crow uses. Is it not the Scarlet Crow flame? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Dodi spoke up in a deep voice. Naturally not. Although Taoist Crow possesses countless Scarlet Crow flames, the flame he uses is not the Scarlet Crow flame, but the Heavenly Sifting Cloud. Heavenly Sifting Cloud? Ning Cheng repeated the words in amazement. Since reading the book given to him by Zhongli Baiqi, he was no longer a novice when it came to knowledge. Heavenly Sifting Cloud was a top-grade flame, second only to his Celestial River flame. His Celestial River flame's original name was Celestial River Scarlet, and it ranked second in the entire vast universe. Excluding the non-existent first, his flame could be said to rank first. Moreover, Heavenly Sifting Cloud ranked fifth among all the flames in the vast universe. This kind of flame was definitely not a trivial existence. That's right, it is the Heavenly Sifting Cloud. After Taoist Crow obtained the Heavenly Sifting Cloud, he did everything he could to make the Heavenly Sifting Cloud undergo nirvana. The best material for a flame to undergo nirvana would undoubtedly be the fire origin bead, but no one would think of using the fire origin bead to undergo nirvana. Taoist Crow is different from ordinary people. Things that others cannot use he would use. He actually found the fire origin bead, and then... Dodi's words were immediately interrupted by Ning Cheng. You mean that Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to undergo nirvana for his Heavenly Sifting Cloud? Although he obtained the fire origin bead, and even integrated it into the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng still had some doubts. Could it be that there was more than one fire origin bead? That couldn't be right. From what he knew, every origin bead was unique. Let me finish. Dodi continued. After Taoist Crow obtained the fire origin bead, he wanted his flame to undergo nirvana in its most powerful form. He opened up a magma pool in the core of a planet with the richest fire elements, and then let the fire origin bead absorb the origin flame essence in this magma pool. According to Taoist Crow, he intended to let his Heavenly Sifting Cloud undergo nirvana in this origin flame essence pool. But at that time his enemy came to attack. After Taoist Crow and his enemy fought, the planet containing the fire origin bead got sucked into the void collapse due to the battle between the two, and could no longer be found. At this point, Dodi gave out a sigh. Later, Taoist Crow could only use the golden fetal flame bead to undergo nirvana for his Heavenly Sifting Cloud. The place I'm going to is one of Taoist Crow's immortal caves, which is also the place where he underwent nirvana for his flame. Taoist Crow found a lot of golden fetal flame beads in the past, so there should still be some left. Ning Cheng did not answer Dodi's words for a long time. He certainly knew about the golden fetal flame bead, which was a top-grade material for flames to undergo nirvana. However, what he was thinking about right now was not the golden fetal flame bead, but the origin flame essence pool where Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to absorb the origin flame essence. However, what Ning Cheng was currently thinking about was not the golden fetal flame bead, but the origin flame pool where Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to swallow the origin flame essence. His heart was filled with regret. Ignorance really killed people. When he first obtained the fire origin bead, why didn't he think about that magma pool? He thought that when he took away the fire origin bead, the temperature of the magma pool immediately dropped. It should have lost its value. Ning Cheng did not expect that the value of that magma pool was much higher than the fire origin crystals, second only to the fire origin bead. However, he was now hundreds of millions of miles away from that magma pool. How could he get there? At this moment he suddenly thought of a line. A supreme treasure was placed in front of him, but he ignored it. If he had another chance, would he get another chance? Brother Cheng. Seeing Ning Cheng clenching his fists with a frown, Seemingly sighing, Dodi called out in doubt. I agree to cooperate. The two of us can split the golden fetal flame bead in half. Ningcheng recovered and spoke with some helplessness. Without the origin flame essence pool's nirvana flame, using the golden fetal flame bead would be just fine. Since Daoist Crow could use it, he could also use it. Dodi immediately spoke up. Okay, that place is from here. At that time, breaking the array might require the two of us to work together. I can't break it by myself. Saying that, she took the lead and entered the side of the fork, while Ningcheng followed behind her. This fork was the place where he had felt a trace of water aura. Not long after the two of them entered the fork, they once again saw a few more forks. Dodi quickly chose one of the forks, while Ningcheng followed behind her unhurriedly. He could feel that the fork Dodi chose was the place where the water aura was the strongest. If not for Dodi wanting to cooperate with him, Ningcheng guessed that he would have also taken this route. Chapter 644. This fork in the valley was very long, and the deeper one went, the narrower it became. Dodi continued to run towards the depths of this place, and after half an hour, Ningcheng, who was following behind her, suddenly stopped. Dodi also stopped, as she looked back at Ningcheng and asked in doubt, Brother Cheng, why did you stop? Ningcheng pointed to a wall behind him and spoke. If there are treasures inside, then we should go in from this place, rather than going further in. According to my experience, there should be a concealment defensive array formation here. It's just that it's been a long time, and this concealment formation is a little broken. Ningcheng was already close to becoming a rank 6 Imperial Array Master. Moreover, when he came to this place, he could feel a trace of water aura overflowing from the side. He swept out with his divine sense, and found that he would reach the end in less than 100 miles. However, there was nothing at the end. Therefore, this fork could only be entered from here. After Dodi heard Ningcheng's words, she immediately took out a jade strip from her ring, and swept it with her spiritual consciousness. Soon her face turned slightly red with embarrassment. Knowing the location was the main trump card for her to cooperate with Ningcheng. Now she had not even found the place, but Ningcheng had unexpectedly found it first. How embarrassing was this? I'm sorry, I really walked past you just now. Dodi's complexion returned to normal, as she looked at Ningcheng with some doubts. How do you know about this place? Could it be that you also have a map? Ningcheng showed a faint smile. How I know about this place is not important. The important thing is that we should hurry up and go in. More and more people are coming here. If I can find this place, it means that others can too. Yes, we should hurry in. Dodi understood that this must be the other party's secret. How could he tell her? As if to cover up her embarrassment, she first took out her magic treasure. This is a hidden defensive array formation. I can't break this array formation. Therefore, we only have one option, and that is to attack. With the two of us working together, we can break it in 4 hours at most. As long as no one comes within these 4 hours, we'll succeed. This was also the reason why she found someone to work with her. If she were to open this place by herself, it would take at least 14 to 16 hours. Attacking an array formation for 14 to 16 hours straight would definitely attract the attention of others. Ningcheng shook his head, took out a handful of array flags and spoke. If we continue to attack this place for 2 hours, I'm sure that someone will find this place. Let me do it. Saying that, Ningcheng continuously threw out the array flags in his hands, and in just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, a small crack appeared in front of Dodi. Dodi stared at Ningcheng in utter shock. This concealment defensive array formation that she needed to find someone to break through. How could it be opened so easily? Hurry up and go in. Someone is coming. Ningcheng did not wait for Dodi to ask anything, and went in first. Seeing this, Dodi immediately rushed in. Ningcheng put away the array flags, and the place once again returned to its original state. This defensive array formation was only effective against those who entered. When they exited, there was no need for him to continue breaking the array. Brother Cheng, are you also a top-notch array formation master? Dodi finally could not help but ask. A top-notch array master was no simple character. Not only did the research on array formations consume a lot of time, but it also required a strong foundation. This foundation was the inheritance of array formations. If alchemy and smithing could be studied by oneself, then the Tao of arrays could only rely on inheritances and one's own comprehension. At most, one would be able to make some new breakthroughs under the original inheritance. Ningcheng casually spoke up. It's just that I occasionally studied it, so I'm not a top-notch array formation master. However, I've already seen the golden fetal flame beads you mentioned, and there are indeed a lot of them. A few kilometers in front of them, there was a small spring pool with some water in it. In the middle of the spring pool was a square platform with 5 or 6 golden fetal flame beads placed on it. Ningcheng knew that in order to use the golden fetal flame bead to undergo nirvana, one would need the help of a top-notch spiritual spring. This spring pool must have been left behind by Taoist Crow for his nirvana flame. Moreover, this spring pool had undergone nirvana for Taoist Crow's flame, and even after such a long time, it had not dried up. From this, one could tell that this spring pool was also a good thing. Do Di immediately rushed over and raised her hand to grab 2 golden fetal flame beads before turning to Ningcheng and speaking. Brother Cheng, you put in more effort to enter this place compared to me. I only want 2 golden fetal flame beads, and you can take the rest. I only need 1/3 of the spring pool. For her, 1/3 of the spring pool plus 2 golden fetal flame beads was more than enough for her flame to undergo nirvana. Ningcheng raised his hand and put away the other 4 golden fetal flame beads before casually speaking. I don't want the spring pool. You can take it. Ningcheng had carefully observed this spring pool, and found that it was indeed a spiritual spring. If he wanted to use the golden fetal flame beads to undergo nirvana for his celestial river flame, this spring pool would not be enough. Besides, he could still find this kind of spiritual spring. Many thanks, Brother Cheng. Do Di felt happy and quickly collected all the spring water in the spring pool. She also vaguely understood how Ningcheng found this place. The Crow Star was dry everywhere, without a single drop of water. Once water appeared, it would definitely be out of place. The other party must have felt the aura of water in this place, and came looking for it. Since the other party could feel the aura of water, it meant that he was a cultivator with a water-based spiritual root. Moreover, he also had a high sensitivity towards water. When Do Di put away the things in this place, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness had already swept around. This place was indeed the only place where Taoist Crow's flame underwent nirvana, and did not contain anything else. What Do Di wanted the most was not Tao-confirming insights, but how to let her flame undergo nirvana. Now that she had obtained what she wanted, she truly felt grateful towards Ningcheng. But before she could say any more words of gratitude, the communication pearls in her and Ningcheng's hands lit up at the same time. It's Senior Apprentice Brother Warren and Senior Apprentice Sister Wuxia. They found Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming immortal cave. Let's hurry over. Do Di rushed out as she spoke. Ningcheng also saw the message on the communication pearl. Although Wuxia had found Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming immortal cave, there were too many people there. They simply couldn't cope with it. If they wanted a piece of the pie, they would have to join in. Seeing Do Di come out of the cave, Ningcheng quickly returned to the middle of the pool, put away the stone platform with the golden fetal flame bead, and threw it into his ring. His spiritual consciousness passed through the stone platform, and found that the middle of the stone platform was empty, with a jade card and a jade strip inside. Ningcheng didn't know what these 2 things were, but since Taoist Crow had placed them inside the stone platform, they shouldn't be ordinary items. If Do Di had found them, he would have been the same as Do Di. But since Do Di hadn't found them, he naturally wouldn't hesitate to take them for himself. Ningcheng was only a few breaths slower than Do Di, but Do Di didn't care about it. In fact, even if Ningcheng took away the stone platform in front of her, Do Di wouldn't care. Maybe she knew that the stone platform contained a secret, but so what? She had chosen it first, and the stone platform was something she had discarded. Ningcheng and Do Di quickly found Wuxia and the others. With Ningcheng and Do Di's arrival, their team of 5 had already gathered. But in this place, their team wasn't the strongest. In this quaint stone hall, more than 30 people had gathered. The strongest team had 6 people, all of whom were cultivators in the Heaven's Mandate realm. Ning Cheng's team could only be regarded as average in this place. Moreover, there were many empty shelves in this stone hall. From these empty shelves, one could see that the things on the shelves had long since been carved up. In addition to that, there were 2 tightly closed array doors in the innermost part of this stone hall. Since the people here hadn't left, it meant that these 2 array doors had yet to open. Brother Chung, junior apprentice Sister Do, you're here. This is the place where Daoist Crow reached the Tao-confirming realm. It's just that we're a bit weak right now. Senior apprentice Brother Warren suffered some minor injuries while trying to snatch Daoist Crow's things. Seeing Ning Cheng and Do Di come over, Yuan Shua explained in a low voice. Seeing Ning Cheng's gaze, Warren spoke up. My injuries were caused by the team of 6 people. They all have Heaven's Mandate cultivation, and their strength is far stronger than ours. Let's not fight them head-on. At this time, we can only try our luck. Warren's tone turned somewhat helpless when he spoke about the words try our luck. Previously, they had come to this place to try their luck. But now that they had found this place, it would be a battle of strength, not luck. He said those words because he knew that their team's strength was far inferior to the others. Everyone, we have more than 30 people here. If anyone dares to call their companions over, don't blame me, Ma Shiman, for being impolite. A burly man with a fierce-looking face stood up. When he spoke, his celestial essence vibrated so much that it hurt the eardrums of others. As this burly man spoke, he also shot a fierce glare at Ning Cheng's group. Apparently, he felt very dissatisfied with Yuan Shua calling Ning Cheng and Do Di over. However, Ning Cheng and Yuan Shua both had ordinary cultivations, so he did not put them in his eyes. This was a full-circle Heaven's Mandate cultivator. Ning Cheng could tell from the celestial wheel behind this fellow that this fellow was definitely a powerhouse. Moreover, this fellow was a team of 6 Heaven's Mandate cultivators. Not only was he strong, but the strength of his team was also strong. At this time, since he stood up and spoke, naturally, no one dared to be long-winded. Seeing that no one dared to stand up and refute him, the burly man with the fierce-looking face nodded with satisfaction and continued. Since you want to find treasures, then it will depend on your luck. Currently, there are 2 array entrances here, and we have a total of 34 people here. I suggest that 17 people form a group, and choose one of the array entrances. However, I will say the ugly words first. If you choose one of the array entrances, you can only enter that array entrance. Even if the things inside this array entrance do not satisfy you, you cannot enter the other array entrance. Otherwise, we will gang up on you and kill you. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. He was an Imperial Array Master who could arrange Grade 6 Celestial River Array formations, and could even use spiritual consciousness attacks. How could he not know about this burly man's tricks? Since there were 2 array entrances here, one of them must be fake. Chapter 645. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already sensed that the array formation on the right side was not right. The array formation entrance was very rough, and the array formation was also weaker than the one on the left side. Not only that, but Ning Cheng also felt that the celestial essence at the array foundation of the right array entrance was thinner than the celestial essence at the array foundation on the left array entrance. In other words, as long as one's array formation skills reached the king level, they would be able to detect that the array on the right was a confusion array, which meant that it was a fake array door. Not to mention someone with a king-grade attainment in array formations, even a celestial array master with a stronger spiritual consciousness would be able to detect it. Does anyone object to my opinion? After Ma Shiman asked, he glanced around. No one stood up to answer. After all, Ma Shiman's plan was not outrageous. After entering these 2 array gates, no one knew which array gate would give them more treasures. Ma Shiman on seeing this immediately spoke up. That is to say, everyone agrees with my opinion. In that case, everyone can choose the left and right array gates. If there are more people in one of the gates, I will make arrangements. Although this Ma Shiman spoke in a fair and just manner, Ning Cheng knew that the other party would never choose the array entrance on the right. I'll go to the left. Let's go to the left as well. In just a short period of time, there were 11 people standing on the left, while there were only 3 people on the right. Yuanxue suddenly sent a voice transmission over. Let's go to the left side. I'm a bit proficient in array formations. The array formations on the right side are too rough. It doesn't look like a place with treasures. Ningcheng was also leaning towards the left, so he did not immediately speak. Seeing that no one spoke, Yuanxue immediately spoke up. The 5 of us will also go to the left. Just as Yuanxue's voice fell, another person spoke up. The 3 of us will also go to the left. Ma Shimin stood up and spoke with a stern tone. Wait everyone, don't follow the trend. Now that neither of the 2 array gates had been opened, no one knew which side had more treasures. Now that so many people had gone to the left, there were already more than 17 people there. In order to save everyone's time, I, Ma Shimin, will help everyone. With that, he pointed at those who had yet to make a choice and said loudly, You and the rest of you, go to the right. Still missing? Then the people on this side should go to the right as well. The 6 of us will go to the right as well. I don't believe that the treasures on the right won't be as good as those on the left. Ningcheng felt disdain in his heart. This Ma Shimin was just too shameless. He had already arranged 12 people on the right. If he said that 6 of them were to go over, the people on his side would definitely stand up and object. Because including the 6 of them, there were 18 people on the right. Sure enough, just as Ma Shimin finished speaking, someone from his team spoke up. Brother Shimin, it's not a problem for us to go to the right side. But this way, there will be 18 people on the right and 16 on the left. Yes, I was foolish. Ma Shimin slapped his forehead and simply pointed to Ningcheng's team and spoke. The 5 of you go to the right side. That way, there are exactly 17 people on the right side. The rest of you go to the left side. Warren's expression changed, and he was about to step forward and say something. During the snatching, he had already been injured by Ma Shimin's hands, and now this guy was obviously trying to trick them. Just when Warren was about to stand up and speak, Ningcheng stopped Warren and spoke with a sound transmission. Brother Warren, I originally planned to go to the right side. Ningcheng initially thought that the right side was a fake array entrance, but after his spiritual consciousness pierced through the rough and broken array formation on the right side, he unexpectedly saw a very complete high-grade defensive array. Even with his powerful spiritual consciousness and spiritual consciousness thorns, he could not penetrate this array formation in the slightest. Moreover, the array entrance on the left side did not have such a complete high-grade defensive array. Ningcheng also understood that the reason why he could use his spiritual consciousness to penetrate the array entrance on the right side was not because his spiritual consciousness and attainments in array formations were too strong. Rather, it was because this array entrance had been here for many years and had long since become dilapidated. Otherwise, not to mention the people on their side, even if a top-grade array formation master came here, they might not necessarily be able to tell which array entrance was good or bad. However, after seeing this high-grade defensive array, Ningcheng immediately changed his mind. Otherwise, even if he had to fight against Ma Shimin, he would not take the initiative to go to the array entrance on the right side. Yuanxue felt helpless. She knew that if she forced herself to go to the left side, it might lead to a group attack. Ma Shimin spoke up in a loud voice. Now that the people in the array entrances on both sides have been divided, let's start breaking the array. After entering the array entrance, everyone will have to rely on their own opportunities. If a cultivator from the array entrance on the right enters the array entrance on the left, anyone can kill him or her, and vice versa. The 34 cultivators quickly divided into 2 halves. The left side was obviously led by Ma Shimin's team, while the right side had no leader for the time being. Presumably seeing that no one was taking the lead, a tall man stood up and cupped his fists towards the crowd before speaking. Friends, my name is Long Xiao. Our team has 4 people, and although I'm not that talented, I only know a little about array formations. Since the 17 of us are going to break this array formation together, then we need a leader. As Long Xiao spoke until here, he paused slightly. In his imagination, when he spoke until here, someone would definitely say, in that case, Brother Long should take the lead and lead us to break the array formation together. However, the scene he imagined did not appear, so Long Xiao continued. The people on the left side are already working together to attack the array entrance, while we haven't moved yet. Let me recommend myself and lead everyone to break this array entrance. Long Xiu's team of 4 had 3 Heaven's Mandate cultivators. One was an undead cultivator, and he himself was at the full circle of Heaven's Mandate realm. One could say that their strength on the surface was no worse than Ning Cheng's team, or even slightly stronger. Although no one echoed Long Xiu's words, after Long Xiu finished speaking, a few cultivators still stood up to support Long Xiu. Long Xiu then swept his gaze towards Ning Cheng's side. Ning Cheng's side had 5 people, 2 of which were Heaven's Mandate cultivators. Although their strength could only be regarded as average, they had a lot of people. Since Ning Cheng said that he wanted to go to the right side, Warren had always wanted to hear Ning Cheng's opinion. It's just that there were too many people here, so he couldn't ask too much. Ning Cheng saw Warren looking at him and immediately spoke up. Let's go by ourselves, I'll lead the way. I agree. Do Di was the first to stand behind Ning Cheng. Yuan Xue looked at Do Di in doubt. Do Di not only came with Ning Cheng, but also trusted Ning Cheng so much. It felt a little strange. According to her understanding of Do Di rarely spoke and rarely expressed her thoughts. She didn't know why she would support the newly joined Cheng Nianxiang so directly. But these doubts only flashed past in a flash, and then she spoke up. I also agree. Warren nodded and also had no opinion, while Oh Hongxin didn't speak much. Friend, what do you mean? If you want to take the lead, as long as everyone agrees, I won't have any opinion. Long Xiu stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with a frown. Ning Cheng spoke up in a calm voice. We don't know each other, so there's no need for us to gather together. The array entrance is right in front of us, and whoever finds it will belong to them. Could it be that after Friend Long leads the way, Friend Long doesn't want the things found by Friend Long, and wants to share them all with us? How could there be such a thing? Long Xiu retorted in anger. In that case, isn't that the case? Let's go our separate ways. Ning Cheng finished and directly walked towards the array entrance on the right. Seeing Ning Cheng walk over, Warren, Yuan Xue and the others quickly followed behind. Brother Cheng, are we going to attack? Warren walked beside Ning Cheng. Seeing Ning Cheng's confident look, he quickly asked a question. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Ning Cheng was not an ordinary person. But when it came to this decision, this elder brother Cheng seemed to have his own ideas. Warren even thought that even if he disagreed with this elder brother Cheng, this person wouldn't be swayed by him. Although it felt weird, he didn't feel disgusted by it. No, we don't need to break this array formation. Everyone, look at the direction I'm going, and then follow my footsteps. Ning Cheng spoke while grabbing a handful of array flags. After arriving at the array entrance, he threw out a few array flags, and a gap immediately appeared. Seeing Ning Cheng step into the gap, Warren and the others felt shocked and quickly followed after him. At this moment, the few of them understood that Ning Cheng not only understood array formations, but was also a powerful array formation master. This level of array formation definitely wasn't any less than a grade 5 array king. Long Xiu wanted to berate Ning Cheng, but the celestial wheels behind Ning Cheng were blurry and chaotic. Ning Cheng dared to act so rudely towards a full-circle Heaven's Mandate cultivator. However, in just a few breaths, Ning Cheng's group of 5 disappeared from the array entrance on the right. With Ning Cheng's group of 5 entering the array entrance, how could the others bear it? Who would want to stay here and listen to Long Xiu's nonsense? Everyone immediately rushed towards the array entrance. However, the gap that Ning Cheng's group had just entered once again closed, and they were directly blocked by the array entrance. Some of the more anxious cultivators had already brought out their weapons to attack the array entrance. At this time, who would care about Long Xiu? Everyone couldn't wait to bring out their weapons to attack the array entrance. If no one had gone in, everyone would have the same patience. But now that someone had gone in first, no one had the same patience as before. The cultivators attacking the array entrance on the left also felt shocked. They had initially thought that the real experts in the Tao of Array were on the left side. After all, as long as one was an expert in the Tao of Array, they would be able to see that the array entrance on the right side was a bit rough and had some problems. But now that Ning Cheng had let a few people into the array entrance on the right side, it showed that his attainments in the Tao of Array were much better than theirs. If such an expert in the Tao of Array went to the right side, Did it mean that the right side had better things than the left side? Ning Cheng led Warren and the others through 7 or 8 turns. In just half an incense stick worth of time, they arrived at a narrow aisle paved with black bricks. Even if the few of them stood here, they could still vaguely hear the sounds of the attacking array formations outside. Brother Chung, I really didn't expect that you turned out to be an expert in the Tao of array formations. We are really lucky to be able to cooperate with you. Yuan Xue understood a bit about array formations. At this time, she could also see that there was a real grand array in front of this aisle. Warren also felt pleasantly surprised. Even if Do Di already knew that Ning Cheng was an expert in the Tao of array formations, she couldn't help but admire him in her heart. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke, "Since we are all in a team, then we should take the benefits together. I believe that it wouldn't take long for others to break through that broken array formation. However, this array formation in front of us is the array entrance that we need to break through. If I didn't guess wrong, this array entrance is the real entrance with the treasures, while the one on the left is the accompanying array entrance. Even if there is something inside, it would be limited." Chapter 646. Warren cupped his fists and spoke, "Brother Chung, you are proficient in array formations. We will listen to you from now on. We'll do whatever you say." As soon as Warren spoke, Yuan Xue and the others also came up and expressed that they would listen to Ning Cheng. They heard the sounds outside getting louder and louder. Even if the cultivators outside didn't understand array formations, they should be able to break the array soon. Warren and the others were clearly worried that the cultivators outside might have already rushed in before they could break the array formation in front of them. Ning Cheng also did not speak any nonsense, and directly spoke, "Since that is the case, then I will not be polite. Everyone, look at the position where I throw the array flags. Once I throw the array flags, immediately concentrate your attacks." Although this array formation was somewhat broken, Ning Cheng knew that it would be impossible for him to break it open in a short time. If he wanted to enter the array door in the shortest time possible, he could only use force. With Ning Cheng dropping down one array flag after another, the 5 people's magical weapons all concentrated their attacks on the same spot. If Ning Cheng was alone, wanting to break open a crack in this array formation, it would have taken him at least half a day. Now that the 5 of them attacked at the same time, in just over 2 hours, a crack was blasted open. Ning Cheng was the first to rush in, and at the same time called out, "Hurry up, this array formation can automatically restore itself. It will soon be restored." There was simply no need for Ning Cheng to call out to them, as the other people had already flashed in. As soon as Ning Cheng passed through the array entrance, he immediately felt a rich celestial essence aura. The surrounding celestial essence aura was not much different from when he cultivated using perpetual moon pills. The only difference was that the celestial essence chi here was not as pure as perpetual moon pills. In front of him was still a black stone path, and there were many houses on both sides of the blue stone path. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness casually swept into a few rooms, and found that they all contained something. They were either the tail feathers of the firewind crow, some Tao artifacts and some fire-type materials. There were even a few houses with the crimson crow fire seed. Warren and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. There were too many good things inside. However, the few of them immediately looked at Ning Cheng. After all, without Ning Cheng, they would not have been able to come in. Ning Cheng secretly nodded in his heart. If these people did not care about anything else, then he would not hesitate to snatch the most. With his spiritual sense and means, he could choose the best things in the shortest time. However, although these people's eyes were filled with desire and passion, they still did not muddle their heads and ask for the opinion of an undead cultivator. "Brother Chung, you're the one who brought everyone here. I'll stand by my words. Whatever you say, we'll do it." Warren was still the first to speak. He did not care about Ning Cheng's feelings just because Ning Cheng's cultivation was slightly lower. Ning Cheng nodded. "The array entrance on the left side is definitely a fake. Although the cultivators on the left side put it nicely, once they go in and do not obtain anything, they would definitely come here to snatch it. Therefore, we need to snatch the things here as fast as possible. Everyone, let's move out." Whoever gets it can keep it. All right. The few of them were very satisfied with Ning Cheng's words, and felt that this cultivator who had temporarily decided to cooperate with them was a very magnanimous person. Warren and the others quickly selected their target and rushed over, quickly entering the room they had already chosen. Ning Cheng did not enter any of the rooms, but disappeared into the distance of the black stone path. There was also a spiritual consciousness restriction in this place. Therefore, Warren and the others' spiritual consciousness could only sweep out less than a kilometer. However, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could see the end of this black stone path. At the end of this black path, there was also a door. This folding fan door looked much thicker than the doors of the rooms next to it. Moreover, the door exuded an ancient aura of vicissitudes. Ning Cheng felt sure that this door contained the real good stuff. If Warren and the others wanted to take things for themselves, Ning Cheng would not hesitate to sweep away most of the rooms in front of him. At the same time, he would also not give up the things in the hall at the end to others. But now that Warren and the others had a strong sense of loyalty, Ning Cheng simply gave up the rooms on the outside to the four of them while he went to the innermost door. Standing in front of the door, Ning Cheng immediately understood that this door was not something he could open with his ability, unless he had the ability to destroy planets. Even if he had the ability to destroy planets, he might not be able to get the things inside the door. The defensive array around this door had already exceeded the scope of breaking it with brute force. Moreover, the defensive array was not damaged at all. Not only that, but Ning Cheng could not even recognize the material used to construct the door. However, at the corner of the door, there was a place for embedding a jade card. Presumably, this place was the key to opening the door. Ning Cheng raised his hand and took out the stone platform that he had collected before. With a shake of his hand, the stone platform immediately broke apart, and a jade strip and a jade card fell into Ning Cheng's hands. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade strip, and found that it contained a method of flame nirvana. Ning Cheng did not care about it, and threw the jade strip into his ring. At the same time, he embedded the jade card into the groove of the door. Initially, Ning Cheng was not sure if this jade card was the thing to open the door. But after he embedded the jade card into the groove, the door gave out a squeaking sound, and a gap slowly opened. Ning Cheng immediately knew that he had done the right thing. Sure enough, this was the jade card to open the door. Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the falling jade card before flashing through the door. After Ning Cheng entered the door, it once again slowly closed. What came into sight was a hall with a huge pill pond in the middle of it. Ning Cheng was too familiar with this kind of pill pond. He had seen such a pill pond in the Time Wilderness. Back then, this pill pond had been filled with perpetual moon pills, and he had obtained nearly half of them. However, this pill pond was several times larger than the pill pond in the Time Wilderness. Unfortunately, the pill pond was dry, without a single medicinal pill in it. Bypassing the pill pond, Ning Cheng saw an altar. Ning Cheng walked up to the altar and saw a line of words carved on it. Those who want my mantle must be a disciple of the demon sect. Drip a drop of blood in worship. If recognized, you can obtain my mantle. Otherwise, all shall perish. Ning Cheng felt speechless. It was just an inheritance, yet it required a drop of blood from a demon cultivator. He had no choice but to call out Chasing Bull and point to the altar. Chasing Bull, your chance has come. Taoist Crow wants you to drop a drop of blood to obtain the treasure. Master, leave it to me. This old bull is the best at this. Chasing Bull forced a drop of blood onto the altar as it spoke. Ning Cheng believed that Chasing Bull's blood would meet the requirements. If the wind-seeking Heavenly Bull's blood didn't work, then this old crow's requirements were too high. Sure enough, in just a few breaths, a red glow emerged around the altar, and a moment later, a flickering shadow appeared in front of Chasing Bull and Ning Cheng. The flickering shadow stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with a cold voice. You're just a human cultivator, yet you dare to covet my Taoist crow's things. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke in a tone that was neither overbearing nor humble. As a starry sky cultivator, or a Tao-confirming cultivator, you still care about the difference between human and demonic cultivators. I really wonder how you managed to reach Tao-confirming. All living beings are equal. When the heavens and earth split apart, Who knew if they were human or demonic? What a pity. The flickering shadow remained silent for a long time. Ignoring the matter of Ning Cheng being a human cultivator, it spoke up. Since you want to inherit my mantle, you must help me find this. After that, bring back the fire origin bead, as well as everything within 5 kilometers of the fire origin bead. Ning Cheng and Chasing Bull both understood what Taoist Crow meant, and Ning Cheng naturally would not agree. Chasing Bull quickly spoke up. As long as this old bull obtains those things, I will definitely bring them back to you. How could the flickering shadow not understand Ning Cheng and Chasing Bull's tricks? It gave out a sigh and didn't say anything. After just a breath, the flickering shadow dissipated. Immediately after, a ring appeared over the altar, indicating that it had acquiesced to this matter. Master, that Taoist Crow was left speechless by what you said. He doesn't even know that all living beings are equal, hee. Chasing Bull quickly tried to flatter Ning Cheng from the side. Ning Cheng shook his head. No, he should have realized that he couldn't do anything to us now. That's why he retreated. Ning Cheng had spoken nonsense just now. As for the all living beings are equal, and whatnot, it was all nonsense. If Taoist Crow could be so easily deceived, he wouldn't have become a Tao-confirming cultivator. He should have retreated out of desperation. Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the ring, before sweeping his spiritual consciousness inside. The ring didn't have any restrictions, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness also didn't feel any obstruction. When Ning Cheng saw what you left behind, he felt completely shocked. Ning Cheng couldn't help but admire Taoist Crow's wealth. This was just an inheritance. There was a pile of cultivation method jade strips, followed by a pile of medicinal pills sealed with restrictions, followed by weapons, followed by a pile of top-grade fiery wind crow tail feathers, each of which was something that couldn't be bought with money. 3 of the scarlet crow flames were sealed. Ning Cheng casually glanced at the 3 scarlet crow flames, and realized that they were of a much higher quality compared to the scarlet crow flames he had seen before. What surprised Ning Cheng the most was the pile of perpetual moon pills. When the pill pond dried up, Ning Cheng felt a little disappointed. He didn't expect to find a pile of perpetual moon pills here. Ning Cheng estimated that there were at least 10 million perpetual moon pills in this place. No wonder there weren't any perpetual moon pills outside. This old crow must have collected all of them. Ning Cheng didn't see any permanent essence pills, which made him feel normal. With Taoist Crow's cultivation, perpetual moon pills might not have much of an effect on him. However, permanent essence pills definitely had an effect on him. Since it was something beneficial to him, he naturally wouldn't leave it to an inheritance disciple he had never seen before. Ning Cheng had just put away the ring when the altar cracked open. In the middle of the cracked altar, there was a line of words. My biggest enemy in life is by zitting. The one who inherits my mantle will become your strongest enemy in the future. Before reaching Tao confirming, you will never be this person's opponent. Remember this. The jade card that opens this door contains my Tao confirming comprehension. Hearing that the jade card contained the Tao confirming comprehension, Ning Cheng immediately swept his spiritual consciousness into the jade card. Apart from the material of the jade token, he could see nothing else. Ning Cheng held onto the jade card in a daze. How could he give this Tao confirming comprehension to the others? If he had to divide it, there was only one jade card. Who should he give it to? After sweeping through the hall with his spiritual consciousness, and confirming that there was nothing else, Ning Cheng let Chasing Bull enter the true spirit world before opening the door again. Chapter 647. Ning Cheng had just opened the door when a staggering figure rushed over. Dodi? How did you? Ning Cheng did not ask any further, as he had already seen it with his spiritual consciousness. The array door that they had entered through had already been blasted open. Other than the 12 people on the right, the 17 people on the left had also rushed in. Warren and Yuanxue were paralyzed on the ground, their bodies covered in blood. Warren's arm and half of his leg were no longer on his body. Yuanxue also lost an arm. From the aura of the 2 people, Ning Cheng could see that the 2 of them were seriously injured, even to the point that their Zifu was injured. As for the other person in their team, Oh Hongxin, Ning Cheng simply did not see him. Ma Shimin, who had gone to the left, held a ring in his hand. Ning Cheng took a look at the ring and realized that it belonged to Wuxia. Brother Cheng, those people came in and besieged the few of us. Senior apprentice brother Warren and senior apprentice sister Wuxia both suffered severe injuries, while senior apprentice brother Oh Hongxin died. Do Di spoke up anxiously on seeing Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded. Let's go and have a look. You can't go there. Do Di stopped after saying a few words. So what if she couldn't go there? He could still come over. Good lad, I couldn't see through you. Even proficient in array formations, knowing that the true array door is on the right. As soon as Ning Cheng arrived, Ma Shimin spoke up with a sneer. Warren, who was paralyzed on the ground, stared at Ma Shimin in anger. Ma Shimin, do you still have any face? We agreed that we would each pick a side, but now you're so shameless, coming to the right array door. Wuxia also looked at Ning Cheng in despair but did not speak. Her arm was broken, but with her current cultivation, it was not difficult for her to regrow an arm. But with Ma Shimin and the others here, she might not even be able to keep her life, let alone talk about regrowing her arm. Senior apprentice brother Cheng, senior apprentice brother Oh Hongxin's things were not only robbed, he was also killed by them, not even sparing the corporeal body and life essence. Do Di stood beside Ning Cheng and stared at Ma Shimin with hatred. Even though she said so, she knew very well that it would be extremely difficult for her to leave this place today. Oh Hongxin did not speak anything. As such, Ning Cheng felt that this person was somewhat shrewd. As such, he was also somewhat wary of him. Unexpectedly, just as he entered this place and made a small fortune, he was killed by Ma Shimin. In any case, everyone was a team. As such, Ning Cheng's heart immediately surged with a murderous intent. Ning Cheng could guess that if Warren and Wuxia weren't late-stage Heaven's Mandate cultivators, they would have most likely died under Ma Shimin's hands, just like Oh Hongxin. On the other hand, Do Di, the female cultivator with the lowest cultivation, was able to escape for a while. From this, it could be seen that Do Di was not a simple character. You are indeed shameless. Are your words bullshit? You obviously went to the left. Why did you come to the right? Ning Cheng looked at Ma Shimin coldly. Ma Shimin's eyes flashed with a trace of fierceness before he took a step forward and spoke. Yes, that's what I said, but Long Xiu on the right invited us over, which is obviously not within the scope of the rules. Since you've invited me to help, I'm sorry if I don't lend a hand. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have come over. But I only found out when I came here that the 5 of you wanted to eat it all for yourselves. Such an excessive thing, I, Ma Shimin, cannot put up with it. No one stood up to speak up for Ning Cheng, and Ning Cheng also understood what was going on. First, as Ma Shimin said, the 5 of them wanted to eat it all for themselves. Second, Ma Shimin and the others were just too strong. Ning Cheng sneered. Long Xiu is bullshit? He can only represent himself. Since when can he represent everyone on the right? At least, I can't represent him. You're looking for death. Long Xiu came a step too late and didn't get anything, which made him feel depressed in his heart. Now Ning Cheng, a puny cultivator in the undead realm, dared to ridicule him as bullshit. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? After these 3 words came out, he immediately brought out his 9 underworld hook, which brought out a pale white light. Ning Cheng already knew that today's matter would not end well if he didn't make a move. What's more, he had no intention of letting Ma Shimin go. Almost at the same time that Long Xiu brought out his 9 underworld hook, Ning Cheng also brought out an ordinary middle-grade Dao artifact long spear, and took a step forward. A powerful domain's imposing aura pressed down, and Long Xiu suddenly felt an illusion. He felt that he was not facing an undead cultivator, but a cultivator in the Heaven's Mandate realm. The powerful domain completely crushed his domain, making him feel uncomfortable. The next moment, a sense of crisis rose from the bottom of his heart. This fellow isn't an undead cultivator. Long Xiu instantly came up with the answer. At this time, Ning Cheng's domain completely suppressed him, giving him no room to retreat at all. In a panic, Long Xiu crazily stimulated 100% of his celestial essence, causing the 9 underworld hook's pale light to turn even sharper. From a distance, if an ordinary person got swept up by this 9 underworld hook's pale light, only death awaited them. However, Ning Cheng was not an ordinary person. His domain instantly tore through Long Xiu's domain. At the same time that Long Xiu's domain shattered, the long spear in his hand shot out spear shadows that covered up Long Xiu's 9 underworld hooks' pale light. A scorching spear light that directly pierced through the space arrived in front of him. Long Xiu could only feel the light around his 9 nether hooks dissipating inch by inch, just like ice and snow meeting the scorching sun. In just 2 breaths of time, he saw endless spear radiance sweeping over, and his 9 nether hooks were completely submerged. This was not on the same level at all. Long Xiu's heart and soul felt like it was splitting apart, and he cried out anxiously, "Senior, please spare me." Ning Cheng's void flame-patterned spear even covered his voice, making it impossible for him to make even the slightest sound. Long Xiu felt a burst of regret in his heart. Since Ma Shimin wanted to come, why should he speak up for Ma Shimin? It really wasn't a good thing to stand out. It's just that his thoughts could only stop here. The next moment, his whole body alternated between hot and cold, and the flame-patterned spear shadows passed through his body, tearing him to pieces. Even his soul essence could not escape. Pata. Long Xiu's broken body slumped to the ground, and the 9 underworld hook in his hand also fell to the side. The surrounding cultivators remained silent. Since Ning Cheng could lead the way to this place, then he must have some skills. However, no one thought that Ning Cheng could beat Long Xiu. The celestial wheels behind Ning Cheng were blurry, which meant that he was at most an undead cultivator. Moreover, Long Xiu was a veteran full-circle heavens mandate cultivator. Under such a comparison, Ning Cheng definitely was not an opponent. However, the reality was beyond everyone's expectations. Not only did Long Xiu lose, but he also couldn't even last a single exchange. Some of the cultivators standing close to Ning Cheng subconsciously retreated, and their eyes turned into fear as they looked at Ning Cheng. Some even thought that Ning Cheng was not a cultivator in the Celestial River's 3 realms, but someone who had surpassed the Celestial River's 3 realms and reached the heaven-seated realm. Ma Shimin also felt shocked by Ning Cheng's actions. He also took a step back, and at the same time, a 3-gate segment appeared in his hand. The 3-gate segment was a very strange weapon and very difficult to refine. It required an artifact crafting master to have a strong understanding of array formations. On the surface, this weapon looked no different from an ordinary long stick. However, this weapon had 3 hidden doors, namely the Morning Gate, the Soul Gate, and the Death Gate. When fighting against an opponent, as long as the opponent was locked by any one of these doors, they would end up as a dead soul under the 3-gate segment. Ning Cheng, who had refined the 3-gate segment before, knew that this weapon was not simple. However, he did not put it in his eyes. He could refine the 3-gate segment himself, so why would he fear a trivial weapon? To put it in an arrogant manner, the 3-gate segment was just a stick to burn in his eyes. Brother Cheng. Warren and Yuanxue, who stood on the side, called out in surprise. Ning Cheng's strength had far exceeded their expectations. No wonder this person dared to team up with them. With such powerful skills, if he had any ill intentions, he would have been the first to die. Ning Cheng nodded to the 2 of them, raised his hand and grabbed Long Xiu's ring, and then said to Do Di, "Junior apprentice sister Do, go help Brother Warren and senior apprentice sister Yu get back their severed limbs. Do them a favor." Warren and Yuanxue's severed arms and legs were only cut off and not destroyed. Otherwise, even if an undead cultivator could regrow a severed limb, it would still require some high-level spiritual grasses and treasures to do so. Moreover, after regrowing a severed limb, one's strength would drop significantly, requiring many years of cultivation before they could recover. Yes, senior apprentice Brother Cheng. Do Di quickly went to help. If it were before Ning Cheng killed Long Xiu, someone would have already come up to stop Do Di. But now, no one dared to step forward to stop Do Di. "Did you kill our team's O Hongxin just now?" Ning Cheng held the long spear and slowly walked towards Ma Shimin. Ma Shimin subconsciously took 2 steps back, but then felt that he shouldn't have stepped back. He immediately stood still and spoke. "Yes, it was your grandpa Ma who killed him." The few people in his team all knew about Ning Cheng's strength and stepped forward at the same time. The 6 people then formed a semicircle around Ning Cheng. Because of their fear of Ningcheng, although the 6 people surrounded Ningcheng in a semicircle, no one took the initiative to attack. Ma Shimin still didn't feel reassured and tried to persuade the rest of the cultivators. Let's go together. I don't know how many good things this person obtained inside. Once we kill this person, we can divide the things inside equally. Ningcheng didn't rush to attack. He also glanced at the surrounding cultivators. When Ningcheng's gaze swept over the several cultivators who were eager to give it a try, they felt a chill run down their spines and immediately dispelled the idea of attacking. Ningcheng's cultivation had not been exposed yet. From how he killed Long Xiu with a single move and treated Ma Shimin so calmly, who knew if he was a heaven-seated powerhouse or not? Do Di, you take Brother Warren and senior apprentice Sister Yu out first. I'll take out the ring later. Ningcheng turned to Do Di and spoke. Do Di picked up Warren and Yuan Xue without hesitation and squeezed out of the crowd. Although Do Di squeezed out of the crowd, no one stood up to stop her. Even Ma Shimin and the others did not try to stop her. They all focused all their attention on Ningcheng. After Do Di and the other 2 went out, Ningcheng calmly looked at the more than 20 people in front of him and spoke with an indifferent voice. From now on, I will count to 5. Those who stay here will fight me, and I will not show any mercy. Those who step out are those who don't want to become enemies with me. After Ningcheng finished, he did not wait for the people around him to speak and directly counted. 5, 4, 3. Ningcheng's counting speed was not slow, and he counted every breath. Chapter 648. By the time Ningcheng counted to 3, more than a dozen people had already left the Black Stone Road. By the time Ningcheng counted to 1, there were still 14 people left. Except for the 2 cultivators who originally came from the array entrance on the right, the other 12 people came from the array entrance on the left. Among them, the 6 people from Ma Shimin's team were all here. Let's go. I don't believe that an undead cultivator can block the siege of 14 Heaven's Mandate powerhouses. Ma Shimin shouted and brought out the 3-gate segment in his hand. He was right, all 14 people here were Heaven's Mandate cultivators. When Ma Shimin made his move, the other 13 people immediately brought out their weapons and attacked Ningcheng almost at the same time. But what puzzled Ma Shimin and the others was that Ningcheng did not fight back, and instead brought out a vague blue Thunder City. It was called a Thunder City because this vague blue Thunder City had electric arcs lingering around it, just like silver snakes dancing in the wind. Boom boom boom. One after another, the weapons aimed at Ningcheng slammed into Ningcheng's Thunder City. Although these Heaven's Mandate cultivators could not break through Ningcheng's Blue Thunder City, and they also did not use their full strength, the powerful attack still blasted Ningcheng away. Ningcheng, along with the Thunder City, was indeed blasted away, but looking at it carefully, it seemed as if he had intentionally landed at the entrance of the array entrance. Seeing Ningcheng in such a weak state, some of the cultivators who went out felt some regret, and some even wanted to come in and besiege Ningcheng again. The reason why they went out was that they worried that Ningcheng was a heaven-seated cultivator. But now, it seemed that Ningcheng was not a heaven-seated cultivator. Not waiting for these cultivators to think about it, Ningcheng took out a handful of array flags and threw them out. In just a few breaths, the cultivator's vision and spiritual consciousness outside were completely isolated. That Thunder City is definitely a spirit artifact. Everyone, let's go. Seeing Ningcheng's Blue Thunder City easily block the joint attack of more than a dozen heaven-seated experts, Ma Shimin's eyes lit up and he shouted out. In fact, there was no need for Ma Shimin's reminder. Everyone knew that the Blue Thunder City that Ningcheng had brought out was not a simple thing, and almost unanimously attacked Ningcheng again. However, no one brought out a 100% killing move to attack Ningcheng. After all, Ningcheng was only a single person. After killing Ningcheng, everyone would definitely try to snatch the resources. At that time, it would be the time to see the real deal. Therefore, they had to preserve their strength so that they wouldn't be left with nothing and end up benefiting others instead. This time, Ningcheng did not get blown away like before. Instead, he rushed into the encirclement of the cultivators with the help of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, while simultaneously sending out 6 spiritual consciousness blades. In fact, he could have shot out more spiritual consciousness blades, but to not waste too much of his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence, he only shot out 6 blade attacks. These 6 blade attacks only targeted 6 weaker cultivators. As soon as the spiritual consciousness blades shot out, the defensive capabilities of Ning City's Blue Thunder Fort dropped significantly. In just a few breaths of time, a gotcha sound rang out, and the Thunder City's shadow disappeared without a trace. After all, the everlasting Blue Thunder City was still a treasure without an artifact spirit. Once Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could no longer support it, the defensive shadow would immediately shatter. Bang bang bang. The Thunder City's shadow shattered, and the 6 weapons all exploded onto Ning Cheng's body. Ma Shiman's 3 gate joints even directly locked onto Ning Cheng's life essence, at least from Ma Shiman's point of view. He can't hold on, I've locked his life essence. Ma Shiman called out in surprise, but before he could finish his words, he felt something wrong. His 3 gate joints clearly locked onto Ning Cheng's life essence, but he couldn't control Ning Cheng's life essence at all. Something's wrong. Ma Shiman had just spoken 2 words when he felt the space around him collapsing. In the middle of the collapse of the void, there were countless terrifying flames sweeping over. If he didn't retreat quickly, the collapsed void would engulf him, and then the flames would completely burn him to ashes. However, this collapsing void made it impossible for him to retreat, as if it wanted to forcibly pull him in. Ma Shiman's soul almost flew out of his body. Was this a law of space spirit technique? He didn't have time to think about it, and madly burned his essence blood to retreat. All the cultivators had the same thoughts as Ma Shiman. Although all of their previous attacks had landed on Ning Cheng's body, once one fell into this kind of collapse, it would only result in death. 8 cultivators rushed out of Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique, while the other 6 cultivators were swept into the maximal flame spiritual technique, resulting in an earth-shattering explosion. The 6 cultivators who were swept up by the maximal flame spiritual technique also wanted to retreat. However, their sea of consciousness had been inexplicably slashed by a blade. The tearing pain made them unable to do anything, nor did they have the ability to retreat. Maybe if they were given a breath of time, they would be able to recover and rush out. However, Ning Cheng would never give them this breath of time. Boom boom. The maximal flame spiritual technique's center rolled up a blazing flame, and a few screams erupted. Ning Cheng and the 8 surviving cultivators were forced to retreat. Ning Cheng's body was covered in wounds, making him look badly mutilated and terrifying. However, Ning Cheng knew that none of the wounds on his body were fatal. Ma Shiman and the other 7 cultivators also stopped at this moment. Although they did not suffer any injuries, each of them had paid a price to withdraw from the center of the vortex created by the maximal flame spiritual technique. Ning Cheng stood opposite the 8 people, with the huge gully created by the maximal flame spiritual technique in the middle. After a face-to-face confrontation, the 2 sides faced each other across the gully. The only difference was that Ma Shiman's side now had 8 people instead of 14. This person turned out to be a body-forging cultivator after undergoing nirvana. A Heaven's Mandate cultivator standing next to Ma Shiman spoke with a bit of fear in his eyes. If an ordinary cultivator were hit by 8 Heaven's Mandate cultivators at the same time, even if they did not die, their corporeal body would have already collapsed. However, this cultivator in front of them only had bloodstains all over his body. Although he looked badly injured, he did not suffer any serious injuries at all. If this was not a body-forging cultivator, then what was it? What was even more frightening to them was that Ning Cheng had used something similar to a space-related spirit technique. Ma Shiman had already calmed down from the panic caused by the Three Gates Festival, and spoke up in a deep voice. We don't have to worry about it at all. What this person used just now was not a space-related spirit technique, but an instantaneous absorption of the fire elements in the surrounding space, creating a fake spatial collapse. Let's go together now. He can only use this spirit technique once at most. Even if he uses it again, we would still be prepared for it. Ma Shiman's words were right. What Ning Cheng used was not the real maximal flame spiritual technique, but a fake spatial collapse. When Ning Cheng used it again, they would have been prepared for it, and would have been able to avoid Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique in time, without the need to burn their essence blood. However, he was wrong about one thing. Even if Ning Cheng used the maximal flame spiritual technique 5 or 6 times, it would not have any effect. He did not know how powerful Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was. Let's go together. Although the 8 people felt fear towards Ning Cheng, they still crossed the gully and rushed towards Ning Cheng. This time no one held back. They had already understood that Ning Cheng was not an ordinary cultivator, but a powerhouse among powerhouses. Ning Cheng did not back down at all. Instead, he rushed towards the 8 cultivators in the Heaven's Mandate realm. He completely ignored the incoming attacks from the magic weapons and domains. The long spear in his hand drew out 8 ordinary spear traces before stabbing out. This was the moment he had been waiting for. The 8 cultivators attacking Ning Cheng, including Ma Shimin, felt puzzled. Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique could be said to have caught them off guard. Moreover, it also contained astonishing power. So why did he only send out 8 simple spear lights? If 8 spear shadows could hurt them, then all the years of cultivation in Heaven's Mandate realm would have been in vain. The celestial essence of the 8 people gathered together at this moment. Even if Ning Cheng's celestial river domain was powerful, it could not stop the joint attack of these 8 people. The celestial river domain started to shatter inch by inch, as if it would turn into nothingness in the next moment. Ma Shimin's 3 Gates festival even produced a soul-sucking sound. Cultivators with slightly weaker souls might even end up sucked away by the 3 Gates festival. Seeing Ning Cheng's celestial river domain shattering, and Ning Cheng about to turn into slag under the attacks of the 8 people, Ma Shimin felt ecstatic in his heart. With celestial essence stimulated to such an extent, even if Ning Cheng had the ability to reach the heavens, he would not be able to reverse the situation. Not only did Ma Shimin feel ecstatic, but the other 7 cultivators also felt ecstatic. They also did not expect that such a powerful opponent from before would lose his level this time. From the looks of it, a bitter battle was unnecessary. In this case, even a heaven-seated cultivator would have to face it head-on. Even a heaven-seated cultivator would suffer heavy injuries if he had to face the attacks of 8 people alone. At this moment, the 8 cultivators attacking Ning Cheng suddenly felt that their attacks seemed to have slowed down. Then they started to slow down and finally stopped. Ning Cheng's spear light that pierced towards them turned into a beautiful sunset, which made them not have the heart to continue thinking about killing Ning Cheng. They just wanted to immerse themselves in this beautiful sunset glow. Ma Shimin was the first to sober up and roared in his heart. No, this is not a sunset. This is not a sunset. This is a lore-related spirit technique. Moreover, it is the most difficult law to comprehend, the laws of time. How could a cultivator in the undead realm comprehend the laws of time? It was absolutely impossible. However, everything in front of him had come to a standstill. No, there was still something that had not come to a standstill. It was the 8 spear shadows within their powerful attacks. Ning Cheng had racked his brains to completely cover up this place, all for the sake of this sunset's twilight. 14 people, he did not have the confidence to kill them all at once. However, he could first use the spiritual consciousness thorn and the maximal flame spirit technique to kill 6 of them. As for the remaining 8, he believed that he could kill them all with his sunset's twilight. It turned out that Ning Cheng was not wrong. Facing his sunset's twilight, the 8 cultivators in the Heaven's Mandate realm reacted with only endless fear in their eyes. None of them could break free from his sunset's twilight in an instant. In despair, they could only accept their fate. This was the difference between Heaven's Mandate cultivators and heaven-seated cultivators. Heaven-seated cultivators could break free from Ning Cheng's sunset's twilight in despair. However, Heaven's Mandate cultivators' state of mind, celestial essence, and spiritual consciousness were far inferior to Ning Cheng. Therefore, under this beautiful despair, they could only accept their fate. Instead of putting up a last-ditch struggle, it was better to enjoy the beautiful sunset before death. For cultivators who were about to lose their lives, even a moment felt like a long time. But for Ning Cheng's sunset's twilight, a moment felt like a short moment. The 8 spear shadows pierced through the glabella of the 8 cultivators in an instant, bringing out 8 arrows of blood. Laws of time, I understand. Ma Shiman fell into the huge gully in the middle, and spoke up in despair. No one knew what he understood. Chapter 649. The shielding array formation arranged by Ning Cheng was not very sophisticated. When the cultivators outside heard the sounds of fighting coming from within the shielding array, some of them even wanted to break through the shielding array. Before, they came out because they feared that Ning Cheng might be a Heaven's Mandate cultivator. But now that they wanted to go in, they feared that the people inside would kill Ning Cheng, leaving them with nothing. Warren and Yuanxue were seriously injured, while Dodi's strength was too weak to stop them. They could only watch as the cultivators in front of Ning Cheng's shielding array eagerly tried. At this moment, the shielding array suddenly opened, and Ning Cheng appeared in front of everyone. The people outside immediately swept their gazes and spiritual consciousness inside, but no one came out except for Ning Cheng. Of the 14 people who stayed inside, none came out with Ning Cheng. Apart from a huge gully behind Ning Cheng, there was nothing else. At this moment, all the cultivators turned silent. A moment ago, there had been such a big fight inside, and now Ning Cheng came out alone. Even a fool could guess that the cultivator in front of them had killed the other 14 people. Thinking about how Ning Cheng killed Long Xiu with a single move, and now killed 14 people, almost everyone here guessed that Ning Cheng was a heaven-seated cultivator. The two cultivators standing in front of the shielding array formation arranged by Ning Cheng immediately turned silent when they saw Ning Cheng, and even started to tremble. When Ning Cheng's gaze swept over them, they immediately called out in a trembling voice, "Say, senior." "Get lost," Ning Cheng scolded. The two cultivators in Heaven's Mandate realm did not dare to speak even half a word of nonsense. They quickly bowed and quickly retreated from this place. Ning Cheng had killed 14 cultivators in Heaven's Mandate realm, and now no one could even see any scars on his body. Who would dare to stay here? As the two cultivators retreated, the rest of the cultivators also bowed to Ning Cheng before retreating. In just a few breaths, only Ning Cheng's group of 4 remained. Only Ning Cheng knew that he could kill 14 cultivators mainly because of his powerful starry sky sea of consciousness and sunset's twilight. Moreover, this was based on the fact that the other cultivators did not know about his laws of time-related spirit techniques. Once others knew about his means and attacked him in batches, he would not dare to fight back. "Senior." Warren and Yuanxue also stepped forward and cupped their fists towards Ning Cheng. Although Ning Cheng had teamed up with them, they didn't know that Ning Cheng was a heaven-seated cultivator. In their view, Ning Cheng most likely was a heaven-seated cultivator. Otherwise, facing the siege of 14 Heaven's Mandate cultivators, only death awaited him. Ning Cheng took out 2 medicinal pills and gave them to Warren and Yuanxue. He then returned Warren and Yuanxue's rings to the 2 of them and said, "We're teammates, so don't call us seniors. These 2 medicinal pills can help you recover from your injuries quickly. As for Daoist Crow's Tao confirming comprehension, although I managed to obtain it, it cannot be engraved, nor can it be expressed in words or images. You may take a look." As Ning Cheng spoke, he had already taken out the jade card. Despite Ning Cheng's sincerity, Warren and Yuanxue didn't dare to take it. They quickly swallowed the medicinal pills and bowed to Ning Cheng. "Many thanks for Senior's life-saving grace. Since this Tao-confirming insight can't be replicated, it's best to leave it with Senior." Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. He knew that this was something that could not be helped. The disparity in their cultivations made it impossible for them to get along with each other as equals. After all, they were not familiar with each other, and had only met each other along the way. In that case, let's say our goodbyes here. See you later. Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and spoke. It was unlikely that they would continue to walk together. Besides, Ning Cheng still had things to do and would not continue to team up with Warren and the others. He still felt grateful towards Warren and the others. If not for Warren and the others, he would not have obtained so many cultivation resources. After separating from Warren and the other 2, Ning Cheng quickly left the Crow Star. There might be other good things in the Crow Star, but Ning Cheng no longer had any interest in it. He wondered if he did not need to leave this planar interface. Now that he had so many perpetual moon pills, He could just find a place to continue his seclusion. Wait. Ning Cheng had just flown out of the Crow Star when two cultivators stopped him. As soon as Ning Cheng stopped, one of the cultivators called out in surprise, "It's him, do it." The two cultivators did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak before bringing out their weapons and rushing towards Ning Cheng. These were just two cultivators in the undead realm. Ning Cheng's celestial river domain crushed down, and a single nothingness flame-patterned spear instantly killed the two of them. Although it was an instant kill, Ning Cheng did not feel even half a shred of joy from crushing his opponents. These two cultivators had attacked him as soon as they saw him, as if they had known him for a long time. In fact, it was his first time seeing these two people. Two cultivators who did not know him suddenly attacked him with excited expressions on their faces. Ning Cheng only had to think about it a little to understand that someone had issued a wanted order for him, and had even promised him great benefits. For someone to issue a wanted order for him at this time, apart from the pale-faced cultivator, who knew about the mysterious yellow bead, there was no one else. In a place like the ancient Desolace abandoned land, any two people could recognize him, which showed that the scope of this wanted order was not small. Ning Cheng no longer felt lucky. He stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds and quickly disappeared. Changing his direction slightly, he still rushed towards the Moon Spirit Marsh. If he continued to stay here, he would have to find a place to hide. For Ning Cheng, finding a place to hide was not a bad idea. However, he did not want to take the risk. That pale-faced cultivator was too powerful. Not only did he have powerful cultivation, but he also had powerful means. Ning Cheng had just arrived at the ancient Desolace abandoned land when someone recognized him. From this, it could be seen that if it were any other place, someone would have already stopped him. Ning Cheng rushed towards the Moon Spirit Marsh at full speed, while a pale-faced cultivator quickly approached the ancient Desolace abandoned land. The moment he learned that Ning Cheng's figure appeared in the ancient Desolace abandoned land, he immediately rushed over. In front of the mysterious yellow bead, anything could be put down. After Ning Cheng used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to fly for a while, he felt a little uneasy. For ordinary cultivators, the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was already very fast. Moreover, using the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to fly in the ancient Desolace abandoned land was not only fast but also safe. However, Ning Cheng still felt a little uneasy. After thinking about it, he brought out the starry sky wheel. The ancient Desolace abandoned land was filled with spatial whirlpools and interface faults. Using the starry sky wheel to fly in this place was akin to holding one's head in one's hands. Fortunately, Ning Cheng did not fly at full speed, which allowed him to avoid some dangers along the way. In the beginning, he could still meet some sporadic cultivators along the way. However, as Ning Cheng moved deeper into the ancient Desolace abandoned land, he encountered fewer and fewer cultivators. 2 months later, Ning Cheng had to put away the starry sky wheel. At this time, the starry sky wheel no longer had a route to travel. Walking to this place, one would find spatial dislocations and spatial cracks everywhere. It was normal for a cracked planet to suddenly appear in front of him. The call of vicissitudes made Ning Cheng's heart tighten even more. Ning Cheng guarded his mind and concentrated on moving in the direction of the Moon Spirit Marsh. After another half a month, Ning Cheng finally stopped in front of a vast swamp. Although it was a swamp, it was just a vast expanse of whiteness. There was no water, no soil, no vegetation, and no life. It was just a vast expanse of whiteness that looked a bit like a swamp. Ning Cheng knew that he had arrived at his destination, the Moon Spirit Marsh. According to the jade strip he had purchased, there was a spatial crack in the depths of this swamp. This spatial crack might be the place where two interfaces intersect. Ning Cheng initially wanted to check the outside of the swamp before carefully entering it. However, a vague sense of crisis lingered in his heart. He only stopped for a few breaths on the periphery of the Moon Spirit Marsh before rushing into the Moon Spirit Marsh without hesitation. After entering the Moon Spirit Marsh, Ning Cheng immediately slowed down. In this place, he had no choice but to slow down. His spiritual consciousness needed to keep an eye on his surroundings at all times. Once a spatial dislocation or a spatial crack appeared, he would have to change his direction. Don't look at him as a body-forging cultivator who had undergone nirvana. If a spatial dislocation appeared, even if he had undergone nirvana 10,000 times, it wouldn't be enough. The ancient Desolace merchant house's jade strip was indeed worth its weight in gold. Ningcheng did not search for long in the Moon Spirit Marsh before he saw a spatial crack line. According to the jade strip, this spatial crack line was the place where two interfaces intersect. Just like the Heaven's Way he wanted to go, the Heaven's Way was equivalent to a place where two interfaces intersect. However, compared to this place, the Heaven's Way was much safer. Without the mysterious yellow bead, even if that pale-faced cultivator caught up to him, Ningcheng would not dare to enter this place. He would die without a doubt. However, with the mysterious yellow bead, Ningcheng did not hesitate to enter the mysterious yellow bead and rush into the spatial crack interface. At the same time, in the 9 Jewels Starry Skies 9-plate Starland, the everlasting sacred shrine was bustling with noise and excitement. As long as the cultivators had some fame in the 9-plate Starland, or even the 9 Jewels Starry Sky, they all appeared in the everlasting sacred shrine. Even the Starry Sky Emperor of the 9 Jewels Starry Sky had come, because the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master had advanced to the eternal realm, and was holding the eternal Starry Sky Emperor grand ceremony, adding one more eternal Starry Sky Emperor to the ranks of the 9 Jewels Starry Sky. Compared to the high-spirited disciples of the everlasting sacred shrine, Ji Luofei looked a little anxious and flustered at this moment. Originally, Mi Jin had promised Ningcheng that as long as Shi Qianghua returned to the everlasting sacred shrine, she would definitely heal under the everlasting sacred tree. But after Shi Qianghua came back, not to mention healing under the everlasting sacred tree, she couldn't even see the everlasting sacred tree. Mi Jin's request to let Shi Qianghua heal under the everlasting sacred tree was rejected by the sacred master, who had yet to come out of seclusion. Shi Qianghua could only stay outside. In recent days, she had lost consciousness for longer and longer. It was foreseeable that if she didn't go to the everlasting sacred tree to heal, she would lose consciousness and never wake up again. Today was the day when the sacred master came out of seclusion and held the Starry Sky Emperor's grand ceremony. Ji Luofei went to consult her uncle Master Mi Jin early in the morning. After waiting for 2 hours, she finally met the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master under the guidance of Mi Jin. Chapter 650. Ji Luofei greets Lord Sacred Master. After Ji Luofei followed Mi Jin inside, she quickly bowed. The sacred master sitting above was none other than Mi Hui, the one who had told Ningcheng to get lost. However, compared to before, her imposing aura was much more condensed and powerful. Although the eternal realm and the life and death realm only differed by a single realm, the difference in strength was like night and day. Mi Hui looked at Ji Luofei from head to toe and spoke slowly. Are you Ji Luofei, Ningcheng's Dao companion? Yes, Ningcheng is this junior's husband. Ji Luofei replied with even more respect. Oh, when Ningcheng got trapped in the changing earth mountain, how did he escape? Mi Hui's tone remained flat. Ji Luofei quickly replied. My husband had a void-cleaving escape talisman, which allowed him to escape. Mi Hui nodded. I see. You can go back. Ji Luofei didn't come here to answer a few questions from Mi Hui. She came here to ask for Mi Hui's consent to arrange Shi Qianghua to cultivate under the everlasting sacred tree. Therefore, how could she dare to withdraw at this time? She quickly bowed again and spoke. Lord Sacred Master, Senior Apprentice Sister Qianghua is now in danger because she used the Forbidden Life technique, soul concealment. I ask Sacred Master to show mercy and let Senior Apprentice Sister Qianghua cultivate under the everlasting sacred tree. You can go. I have my own plans. Mi Hui's face sank and spoke with some impatience. Lord Sacred Master. Seeing that Sacred Master didn't want Senior Apprentice Sister Qianghua to cultivate under the sacred tree, Ji Luofei felt anxious and called out in a slightly louder tone. Get lost. A slut who has an affair with a man dares to disobey my decree. Mi Hui's expression immediately turned ugly and she raised her hand and waved it. Ji Luofei flew out like a broken kite and spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Senior apprentice sister sacred master. Mi Jin quickly stepped forward to plead. Mi Hui looked at Mi Jin with a gloomy expression and spoke. Mi Jin, you're getting more and more unreasonable. In the future, don't bring this kind of woman who has an affair with a man into my sacred ground. Mi Jin didn't dare to refute. She bowed and said, Senior apprentice sister sacred master Qianghua. The everlasting sacred tree is the most precious treasure of my holy land. Qianghua did not abide by the rules, made friends with demons, and entangled with men. How could she be qualified to be a saintess? She is even less qualified to cultivate under the everlasting sacred tree. This matter is not to be mentioned again in the future. Mi Hui said with a very dissatisfied tone. Hearing the sacred master even say such words, Mi Jin did not dare to say anything else and quickly bowed. She thought that the sacred master valued Saintess Qianghua a lot, but in fact, the sacred master had always valued Saintess Qianghua. Who knew that the sacred master would have such an attitude towards sacred maiden Qianghua, after advancing to the eternal realm? Compared to before, it was like heaven and earth. Seeing that Mi Jin didn't continue to talk about the sacred lady, Mi Hui nodded and her expression eased up a bit. There are too many guests here today. You have to entertain them. At the same time, my everlasting sacred shrine will have to choose another sacred lady. Yes. Mi Jin bowed and retreated. In the past, sacred master had always been domineering, but she felt that there was still a bit of a human touch to her. However, the current holy master felt very unfamiliar to her. Not only was he domineering, but he also had an air of supremacy about him. Wait. Mi Hui called out to Mi Jin again. Mi Jin felt happy in her heart. She actually liked Saintess Qianghua a lot, but she also felt very afraid of Ningcheng. She did not want everlasting sacred shrine to become enemies with Ningcheng, nor did she want Qianghua to fall. Once the sacred master did not allow Shi Qianghua to cultivate under the everlasting sacred tree, Qianghua would definitely fall. At that time, the everlasting sacred shrine would definitely become enemies with Ningcheng. Moreover, it would be a deep hatred. A trace of indifference appeared on Mi Hui's face as she looked at Mi Jin and spoke. Qianghua ignored the kindness of my sacred shrine and continued to entangle herself with a man. She even used a forbidden technique, which seriously violated the rules of my sacred shrine. Now that she has received the retribution she deserves, you can go and give her a quick death. Also, take care of that Ji Luofei. As for Ningcheng, take the opportunity of my grand ceremony to issue a wanted order. The reason why Mi Hui said those words was that she had not come out yet. Once she came out, she would know that Ningcheng's wanted order had already been issued to every corner. Mi Jin looked at the sacred master in shock. She did not think that the sacred master would be so ruthless. Not only did she want to kill Shi Qianghua, but she also wanted to kill Ji Luofei. In case she did this, when Ningcheng returned in the future, would the everlasting sacred shrine even have a speck of dust? With Ningcheng's formidable potential, it would not be impossible for him to reach the eternal realm. However, with the strength of the sacred master who had advanced to the eternal realm, she did not dare to say that Ningcheng, a cultivator who had not even reached the heaven-seated realm, could pose a threat to her. It would be equivalent to slapping the sacred master's face. Little sister Luofei. Shi Qianghua sat weakly in the room and called out when she saw Ji Luofei coming in. She immediately felt something wrong and stood up with the help of a chair. Luofei, are you hurt? Ji Luofei quickly stepped forward to support Shi Qianghua and spoke with some eagerness. Big sister Qianghua, sacred master did not allow you to cultivate under the everlasting sacred tree. Moreover, she even injured me with a slap. I'm afraid that she would kill us. Moreover, Ji Luofei had been trapped in the Bridge of Storms for many years, and was no longer a simple cultivator who did not understand anything. Shi Qianghua's eyes flashed with a trace of despair, before she slowly sat down and spoke. I finally understand why Uncle Master Mi Chun would rather leave the changing earth mountains than stay in the everlasting sacred shrine. It turns out that she was right. Big sister Qianghua, when I came here, senior apprentice sister Yi told me that someone seems to have issued a wanted order for Ningcheng. I'm afraid that we can't stay here. Once someone comes to know that Ning Cheng is our husband, it would not be good for us. Ji Luofei's tone turned even more worried. At this moment, Jing Yi rushed in anxiously. Senior apprentice Sister Yi. Shi Qianghua quickly called out. Jing Yi spoke up anxiously. I just saw the wanted poster. It's definitely Ning Cheng. It's definitely the work of a great person. Junior apprentice Sister Qianghua. You should quickly leave with junior apprentice Sister Luofei. Shi Qianghua spoke up calmly. Does Sacred Master also want to kill me? Jing Yi did not answer Shi Qianghua's words. Instead, she took out a talisman and stuffed it into Shi Qianghua's hand. Senior apprentice Sister Qianghua, Uncle Master Mi Jin left this for me. She wants you to quickly leave the everlasting sacred shrine. Many thanks, Senior apprentice Sister Yi. Many thanks, Uncle Master Mi Jin. Ji Luofei took the escape talisman from Shi Qianghua's hand and did not wait for Shi Qianghua to speak before putting Shi Qianghua on her back. The everlasting sacred shrine, at this moment, was overflowing with joy. No one cared about Ji Luofei and Shi Qianghua leaving. As for Sacred Master Mi Hui, she would not put these two ants in her eyes. In a celestial river battleship, Ji Luofei took in a deep breath and spoke. We finally escaped. Big Sister Qianghua, why did Jing Yi help us? Senior apprentice Sister Yi and I have always been inseparable. Besides, my husband also saved her life. Although it was Uncle Master Mi Jin's intention, but for her to help me this time, she also took a great risk. Shi Qianghua spoke with a sigh, but before she could finish her words, she immediately fell backwards. Ji Luofei turned anxious and quickly held Shi Qianghua up while calling out anxiously. Big Sister Qianghua. It was not the first time for Ning Cheng to use the mysterious yellow bead to escape into a spatial collapse. According to his experience, as long as he waited for a while he would be able to escape from the chaotic spatial collapse and enter a stable zone. But this time, it was beyond Ning Cheng's expectations. Ning Cheng had stayed in the mysterious yellow bead for nearly 5 or 6 days. Yet the mysterious yellow bead was still tumbling about due to the spatial storms and whirlpools. After another 2 days, Ning Cheng no longer kept an eye on the situation outside. Instead, he took out a perpetual moon pill and began cultivating inside the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivating inside the mysterious yellow bead, not only did one's cultivation speed increase, but one's comprehension ability also increased by several times compared to cultivating outside. Ning Cheng had a deep understanding of this. Initially, he had only cultivated inside the mysterious yellow bead for a few months before reaching the middle level of the undead realm. If he had cultivated outside, even with enough perpetual moon pills and the help of the mysterious yellow aura, it would have taken him at least a few years to reach the middle level of the undead realm. Taoist Crow's inheritance had a huge effect on Ning Cheng. Even if he consumed more cultivation resources, these 10 million perpetual moon pills were enough for him to cultivate for a while. 4 months later, Ning Cheng directly rushed into the late stage of the undead realm. 7 months later, Ning Cheng's cultivation reached the full circle of the undead realm. After reaching the full circle of the undead realm, the celestial essence surging within his body made Ning Cheng want to find a heaven-seated starry sky demonic beast and fight it out to see how powerful his celestial essence had grown. On the 8th month, Ning Cheng stopped cultivating. His cultivation had completely stabilized at the full circle of the undead realm, and just 1 step away from crossing the tribulation and entering the heaven's mandate realm. Ning Cheng knew that he was different from other cultivators. Other cultivators did not need to cross the tribulation from the undead realm to the heaven's mandate realm, but he needed to cross the tribulation. The mysterious yellow bead did not seem to be as turbulent as before, and Ning Cheng could barely explore it with his spiritual consciousness. The number of spatial vortexes outside had also decreased a lot, and spatial dislocations and storms had also disappeared. A few days later, Ning Cheng rushed out of the mysterious yellow bead and put it back into the depths of his Zifu. At this time, apart from some scattered meteorite flows and some simple void wind edges, he could no longer see any spatial vortexes or cracks. Ning Cheng guessed that he must have come out of the spatial crack. Passing through a planar interface's spatial crack, The mysterious yellow bead had tumbled for 8 months. He did not know how far he had traveled, or if this place was still the same part of the universe's starry skies. Whether it was or not, the most important thing for Ningcheng was to find a place to cross the tribulation and advance to the Heaven's Mandate realm first. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found nothing but the void around him, without any markings or any battleships or flight-type weapons. 10 days later, Ningcheng stopped on top of a broken meteorite. As there was no land here, he could only cross the tribulation in the void. However, Ningcheng did not worry about it. It was not the first time for him to cross a tribulation in the void. Moreover, he believed that with his formidable strength, crossing a Heaven's Mandate thunder tribulation should not be a problem. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.